Hey everyone, today I want to dive into a question that might have crossed your mind at some point. Why does God leave the 99 sheep to search for the one that strayed? This question takes us to saying 107 from the Gospel of Thomas. It's a provocative interpretation of the familiar parable of the shepherd and the 100 sheep. It makes us rethink why the divine shepherd would choose to leave the 99 compliant and faithful followers to search for the one that went astray. The parable of the Good Shepherd is beautifully depicted in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verses 11-16. Let's take a moment to hear these words. I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the Good Shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. Now let's look at the Gospel of Thomas, saying 107. It says, the kingdom is like a shepherd who had 100 sheep. One of them, the largest, went astray. He left the 99 and looked for that one until he found it. When he had gone to such trouble, he said to the sheep, I care about you more than the 99. In this parable, the 99 sheep represent the conformists, those who follow the path without deviation. Their lives are stable and secure, but predictable and uniform. The lost sheep, however, represents risk, uncertainty, and the allure of the unknown. By straying, it encounters a different reality filled with potential peril, but also unique opportunities for growth and adventure. The divine pursuit of the lost sheep suggests a deep fascination with these singular experiences. The shepherd's decision to leave the 99 and brave the wilderness to recover the one indicates a prioritization of diverse experiences over uniform compliance. It reflects a divine curiosity about the paths less traveled and the lessons they hold. This narrative underscores that the divine essence, or God, experiences reality not only through the obedient and predictable, but vividly through the deviations and mistakes of the sinners. The shepherd's willingness to risk vulnerability and danger to reclaim the lost highlights the divine's profound engagement with the complexities of human existence. So, in the grand tapestry of life, the threads of rebellion, risk and recovery are as crucial as those of obedience and order. Each return, each redemption of a lost soul adds depth and texture to the divine understanding of human experience. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of the divine pursuit. Until next time, take care and remember, every path we walk adds to the beautiful story of our lives.
Hey there, spiritual seekers. Today let's dive into the profound topic of inner freedom and self-transformation. Imagine this world as a prison of our own making. The bars are our desires, the shackles our fears. But there's a guide among us, not a scapegoat to take away our sins, but a teacher showing us the way out. He stood with calloused hands, not preaching escape, but teaching us how to remake the keys from fragments of broken chains. You are God's, he said. But his words often fell on ears more attuned to the clinking of coins. We tend to build monuments to forgetfulness, letting our sins fester and drag us further from the light. Each weight we carry etches sickness into our very being. He warned us, every debt must be paid, down to the last coin. Not a threat, but a truth as certain as the changing seasons. Sin isn't some currency we can hide away. It's a weight we bear, knowingly or unknowingly. Yet the promise of life eternal isn't in some distant heaven. It's here, now, in the silence between breaths, in the work of redemption. The Gospel of Thomas whispers to us from forgotten sands. The kingdom is not in the sky, nor in the sea's restless depths. It is within. Until we know it, we walk in poverty, dragging ourselves across an indifferent earth. Seek, he said, and though we tremble with fear, if we did not turn away, we would find a truth so vast it would astonish us. This is the path to shed sin as trees shed leaves in autumn, to labor in the fields of our soul, turning over stones long untouched, to know ourselves, reclaiming the divine inheritance buried beneath centuries of dust. Where does it lead? To a place beyond the grasp of death, to godhood, not in arrogance but in the humble realization that freedom was never taken. It was always ours, waiting. Thanks for watching, and remember, the path to inner freedom starts within.
Hey, everyone, imagine this. St. George, the Dragon Slayer, not just a knight in shining armor, but a warrior battling alien reptilian gods. Sounds crazy, right? Let's dive into this fascinating alternative interpretation of an age-old legend. St. George, a Roman soldier turned Christian martyr, has been celebrated for centuries. The classic tale. He rides into a town terrorized by a dragon. The dragon demands human sacrifices, and when it's the king's daughter's turn, George steps in. He slays the beast, saves the princess, and becomes a legendary hero. But what if the dragon wasn't just a mythical creature? Some theorists suggest that the dragon represents alien reptilian gods from the Old Testament. Yep, you heard that right. These alien deities, described with monstrous attributes, demanded obedience and sacrifices. Remember the story of Abraham and Isaac? God asks Abraham to sacrifice his son. This resonates with the idea of demanding deities. The concept of alien reptilian gods isn't new. It's rooted in ancient mythologies and championed by contemporary theorists like David Icke. These beings supposedly controlled early humans through fear and manipulation. The Old Testament is filled with divine commands and interventions, which some argue align with this theory. For instance, in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, the Bible condemns child sacrifice, implying the existence of gods who demanded such acts. This fits with the idea of malevolent reptilian deities. Now, reimagining St. George as the slayer of these alien gods transforms his legend. He's not just saving a town, he's liberating humanity from extraterrestrial oppression. His victory over the dragon symbolizes human courage, faith, and resistance against otherworldly tyranny. This reinterpretation makes us reflect on power, faith, and resistance. It challenges us to reconsider traditional narratives and explore hidden meanings in ancient texts. By viewing the dragon as a symbol of alien oppression, we question divine authority and the origins of religious myths. Moreover, it aligns with a skeptical approach to religious and historical narratives. It encourages us to seek alternative interpretations and stay open to the possibility that myths might have extraterrestrial roots. So, next time you hear about St. George and the dragon, remember there might be more to the story than meets the eye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more intriguing content. See you next time. The story of Abraham and Isaac is one of the most well-known and unsettling narratives in the Bible. It is found in Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 through 19. God commands Abraham to take his son Isaac, his only son, to the land of Moriah. There, Abraham is to sacrifice Isaac as a burnt offering. This command is a profound test of Abraham's faith. Abraham obeys without question. He travels to Moriah and prepares to sacrifice Isaac. At the last moment, an angel of the Lord intervenes. The angel stops Abraham from harming Isaac. A ram is caught in a thicket, which Abraham sacrifices in Isaac's place. This story, known as the Akedah, has been interpreted in various ways. Traditionally, it is seen as a testament to Abraham's unwavering faith and obedience to God. This interpretation emphasizes Abraham's willingness to sacrifice even his most precious possession for his faith. The story ends with God reaffirming his covenant with Abraham. He blesses Abraham for his faithfulness. This story has had a profound impact on Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. It continues to raise complex theological and ethical questions. The Aqidah challenges us to confront the nature of faith, obedience, and the nature of God. To understand the story of Abraham and Isaac, we must consider its historical context. Child sacrifice, while abhorrent to us today, was practiced in the ancient Near East. This practice was often seen as a way to appease deities or ensure fertility and prosperity. Cultures surrounding the Israelites, such as the Canaanites and Phoenicians, were known to engage in child sacrifice. Archaeological evidence supports the prevalence of child sacrifice in these cultures. Excavations have uncovered the remains of infants and children who were ritually sacrificed. These sacrifices were often made to gods associated with fertility, such as Baal or Moloch. The Bible itself condemns child sacrifice as a pagan practice. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21 explicitly prohibits the offering of children to Moloch. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31 further condemns the practice, stating that it was something the Israelites' enemies did and it was detestable to God. This context is crucial for understanding the story of Abraham and Isaac. It suggests that the story might be interpreted as a condemnation of child sacrifice rather than an endorsement of it. The story of Abraham and Isaac presents significant moral challenges. How can a loving God demand such a brutal act from one of his followers? The idea of sacrificing a child, especially one's own child, is morally repugnant to most people today. It raises questions about the nature of God and the ethics of religious obedience. If God is all loving and merciful, how could he command such a thing? This question has troubled theologians and philosophers for centuries. Some argue that the story highlights the absolute sovereignty of God. God has the right to command whatever he chooses, even if it seems morally wrong to humans. Others suggest that the story is meant to test our faith. It forces us to confront the limits of our understanding of God's will. The ethical implications of the story are profound. It raises questions about the relationship between faith and morality. Can faith ever justify acts that would otherwise be considered morally wrong? The Aqidah compels us to grapple with these uncomfortable questions. It challenges us to examine our own beliefs about God, faith, and the nature of good and evil. Section 4. A test of faith, not sacrifice. Reinterpreting the Aqidah. Some scholars propose alternative interpretations of the Aqidah. These interpretations challenge the traditional view of Abraham's near sacrifice as a test of blind obedience. Instead, they suggest that the story is meant to condemn human sacrifice and affirm a more compassionate understanding of God. One such interpretation argues that the story is a polemic against the child sacrifice practiced by neighboring cultures. By depicting Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son, the story highlights the barbarity of such practices. The fact that God ultimately prevents the sacrifice reinforces the idea that human life is sacred. Another interpretation emphasizes the substitutionary nature of the sacrifice. The ram that is ultimately sacrificed in Isaac's place can be seen as a foreshadowing of the future sacrifice of Jesus. In Christian theology, Jesus is often referred to as the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. This interpretation suggests that the Aqidah points towards a God who does not require human sacrifice, but instead offers himself as a sacrifice for humanity. These alternative interpretations offer a more ethically palatable understanding of the Aqidah. They allow us to reconcile the story with a God who is both loving and just. Section 5. Beyond blind obedience, faith, morality, and the divine. The story of Abraham and Isaac compels us to move beyond blind obedience in our understanding of faith. It encourages us to develop a faith that is rooted in critical thinking, moral reasoning, and a deep commitment to justice and mercy. True faith, according to this view, should never contradict our deepest moral intuitions. Instead, it should inform and elevate them. The Aqidah challenges us to question any religious teaching or tradition that condones violence, oppression, or injustice. It reminds us that our relationship with God should be based on love, compassion, and a commitment to making the world a better place. We are called to be critical thinkers, questioning even the most sacred of texts and traditions. We are called to be moral agents, using our conscience and reason to discern right from wrong, and we are called to be agents of love, working to create a world where all beings are treated with dignity and respect. Section 6. Choosing love. Embracing a compassionate faith. In the end, the story of Abraham and Isaac invites us to choose love. It invites us to embrace a faith that is grounded in compassion, justice, and a deep reverence for all life. This kind of faith does not demand blind obedience or require us to sacrifice our moral compass. Instead, it empowers us to be more fully human, to live with greater integrity and purpose. As we grapple with the complexities of the Akedah, let us remember that our faith should be a source of hope, healing, and liberation. It should inspire us to act with courage and compassion in the world. Let us strive to live out a faith that reflects the love, mercy, and justice of the God we claim to serve.
Zajdziemy?
The Bible presents a complex tapestry of divinity, woven with threads of both love and wrath. On one hand, we encounter the God of the Old Testament, a figure of immense power and unyielding justice. This God demands obedience and metes out punishment with an iron fist. On the other hand, the New Testament introduces us to Jesus, who reveals a God of love, mercy, and forgiveness. This stark contrast has led many to question the true nature of the divine and the relationship between these seemingly disparate aspects of God. The Old Testament God is a God of covenants and commandments. He establishes his authority through awe-inspiring displays of power, from the parting of the Red Sea to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Obedience to his law is paramount, and transgressions are met with swift and often severe consequences. This God is a jealous God, demanding exclusive worship and punishing idolatry with unwavering zeal. The New Testament, however, paints a different picture. Jesus, in his teachings and actions, emphasizes love, compassion, and forgiveness. He teaches his followers to love their enemies, to forgive those who have wronged them, and to extend grace to all. This radical message of love seems to stand in stark contrast to the vengeful God of the Old Testament. This apparent contradiction has puzzled theologians and believers for centuries. Is the God of the Old Testament the same God revealed through Jesus? Or are we dealing with two distinct deities, each reflecting a different aspect of the divine nature? To unravel this mystery, we must delve deeper into the Scriptures, exploring the darker narratives of the Old Testament and the insights offered by mystics and visionaries. The Old Testament is replete with stories that highlight the fearsome and often perplexing aspects of God's nature. The binding of Isaac, for instance, presents a disturbing narrative in which God commands Abraham to sacrifice his own son as a test of faith. This tale raises profound questions about the nature of obedience and the limits of divine command. Similarly, the story of Noah's Ark depicts God unleashing a catastrophic flood upon the earth, wiping out nearly all of humanity. While often interpreted as an act of divine justice, the sheer scale of destruction raises questions about the proportionality of punishment and the value of human life in God's eyes. The story of Cain and Abel offers another glimpse into the darker side of the Old Testament God. Cain, consumed by jealousy, murders his brother Abel. God, rather than immediately punishing Cain, places a mark upon him, protecting him from harm but condemning him to a life of wandering and isolation. This act suggests a complex understanding of justice, one that encompasses both punishment and a strange form of mercy. These stories, while open to interpretation, reveal a God who is often unpredictable, demanding, and seemingly unconcerned with the suffering of humanity. Such narratives have led some to question the benevolence of the Old Testament God and to seek alternative interpretations of his nature. Throughout history, mystics and visionaries have grappled with the contrasting portrayals of God in the Bible. Many have concluded that the God of wrath and vengeance depicted in the Old Testament is not the true God, but a lesser deity, perhaps even a demonic entity masquerading as the divine. The 17th century German mystic Jacob Boehme, for instance, believed that the God of the Old Testament represented the wrathful aspect of the divine, which he termed the fire of wrath. Boehme argued that this force was necessary for the purification of the soul, but that it was ultimately subservient to the true God of love and compassion. Similarly, the medieval mystic Meister Eckhart distinguished between the Godhead, the unknowable essence of the divine, and the God of creation, who he believed was a lesser manifestation of the divine. Eckhart taught that true enlightenment involved transcending the God of the Old Testament and embracing the God of love revealed through Jesus. These mystics, while offering different interpretations, shared a common belief that the God of wrath and vengeance was not the ultimate source of goodness and love. They saw the Old Testament narratives as symbolic representations of spiritual truths, rather than literal historical accounts. The idea of the Old Testament God being a demonic entity, while seemingly radical, has found resonance among some thinkers. They point to the God of the Old Testament's penchant for violence, his jealous nature, and his demands for unquestioning obedience as evidence of a malevolent force seeking to control and manipulate humanity. This perspective argues that the devil, often depicted as the deceiver, could easily masquerade as a righteous and powerful God, using fear and intimidation to ensnare his followers. The Old Testament, in this view, becomes a cautionary tale about the dangers of blind faith and the importance of discerning the true nature of the divine. While this interpretation remains controversial, it highlights the profound questions raised by the contrasting portrayals of God in the Bible. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable aspects of the Old Testament and to grapple with the nature of good and evil in the context of religious belief. In the face of these theological complexities, the teachings of Jesus offer a radical alternative. Jesus' message of love, forgiveness, and compassion stands in stark contrast to the vengeful God of the Old Testament. He calls his followers to embrace a different way of being, one rooted in love rather than fear, in forgiveness rather than retribution. Jesus' teaching suggests that the true nature of God is not to be found in wrath and vengeance, but in love and mercy. He emphasizes the importance of compassion, urging his followers to care for the sick, the poor, and the marginalized. His message is one of radical inclusivity, extending grace to all, regardless of their past transgressions. By embodying love and forgiveness in his own life, Jesus offers a compelling alternative to the fear-based religion of the Old Testament. He invites us to see beyond the God of wrath and to embrace the God of love, a God who seeks not to punish but to heal, not to condemn but to redeem. In doing so, Jesus reveals a path to spiritual liberation, one that leads not through obedience to a set of rules, but through the transformative power of love.
No idziemy, chodź. Na spacer, chodź. Chodź. O.
In the annals of history, certain substances transcend their physical properties to embody profound spiritual significance. Chrism oil, a sacred concoction mentioned in biblical texts and historical accounts, stands as a testament to this enduring connection between the material and the divine. Used for centuries to anoint kings and priests, chrism oil served as a visible marker of divine selection, imbuing chosen individuals with authority and sanctity. The act of anointing with chrism oil transcended a mere ceremonial practice. It signified a profound spiritual transformation. Those chosen for this sacred rite were set apart, consecrated for a higher purpose. Kings, upon receiving this holy unction, were believed to rule with wisdom and justice, guided by a power greater than themselves. Priests, anointed with this sacred oil, became conduits between the earthly realm and the divine, their very presence radiating an aura of holiness. The composition of chrism oil, shrouded in mystery and guarded with the utmost secrecy, varied across cultures and time periods. However, certain core ingredients mentioned in ancient texts hint at its potent symbolism. Olive oil, representing purity and light, formed the base of this sacred elixir. Fragrant spices and resins such as myrrh, frankincense, and cassia were added, their aromatic properties symbolizing the ascent of prayers to the heavens. Chrism oil, beyond its symbolic importance, was believed to possess extraordinary properties, acting as a divine litmus test for purity and worthiness. Legend has it that the oil would shimmer and glow when applied to a righteous individual, its fragrance intensifying, filling the air with a sweet aroma. However, in the presence of sin or deceit, the oil would darken, its scent turning acrid and foul, betraying the hidden transgressions of the unworthy. This belief in the oil's ability to discern the true nature of an individual's soul instilled a sense of awe and trepidation. It served as a constant reminder that no secret, no matter how deeply buried, could remain hidden from divine scrutiny. The fear of the oil's judgment served as a powerful deterrent against wrongdoing, encouraging individuals to live virtuous lives, their hearts aligned with the principles of righteousness. This concept of divine judgment through chrism oil is deeply intertwined with ancient beliefs about sin, purity, and the consequences of transgressing sacred laws.
The oil, it darkens. What have I done to deserve this?
Throughout history, tales abound of individuals subjected to trials by chrism oil, their innocence or guilt determined by the oil's reaction. These trials, often steeped in drama and intrigue, captivated the imaginations of ancient communities, reinforcing the belief in the oil's supernatural ability to expose hidden truths. One such tale, passed down through generations, tells the story of a jealous courtier who accused a young woman of theft. The young woman, falsely accused, swore her innocence. To prove her claims, she agreed to undergo a trial by chrism oil. The entire court assembled, their eyes fixed on the young woman as the priest approached, vial in hand. A hush fell over the crowd as he anointed her forehead with the sacred oil. By this sacred oil may the truth be revealed. Moments passed, each one in eternity, before the oil, to the astonishment of all present, began to shimmer, its fragrance filling the air with a sweet, intoxicating aroma. The young woman, her innocence proven, was exonerated. The courtier, his deceit exposed by the oil's judgment, faced the consequences of his false accusations. This tale, and others like it, served as cautionary reminders that truth, no matter how deeply concealed, would always be revealed, often through the most unexpected means.
No, it cannot be. The oil, it reveals my lies.
Beyond its role in anointing and judgment, chrism oil was also revered for its purported healing properties. Ancient texts, including biblical accounts, describe the oil's use in treating a variety of ailments, from physical wounds to spiritual afflictions.
In the hands of skilled healers and holy men, chrism oil was believed to possess the power to alleviate suffering and restore wholeness.
One of the most enduring images associated with chrism oil is its depiction as a balm, a soothing agent capable of healing wounds both physical and spiritual. This imagery evokes a sense of comfort, hope, and restoration, highlighting the oil's association with divine mercy and compassion.
Stories of miraculous healings attributed to chrism oil abound in religious texts and folklore. The the sick and the suffering flocked to temples and sacred sites, seeking the healing touch of priests and healers who administered chrism oil with prayers and incantations.
While the efficacy of such treatments may be subject to debate, the belief in the oil's healing power provided solace and hope to countless individuals seeking respite from their afflictions. The exact recipe for chrism oil, carefully guarded and passed down through generations, has been lost to the sands of time. Ancient texts offer tantalizing clues, but the precise combination of ingredients and the methods of preparation remain shrouded in mystery.
Some scholars speculate that the loss of this knowledge was intentional, a way of protecting the sacred from misuse or profanation. Others believe that the recipe was lost gradually, a victim of political upheavals, societal transformations, and the passage of time.
Regardless of the reasons for its disappearance, the loss of the original chrism oil formula only serves to deepen its mystique, fueling centuries of speculation and intrigue. The search for this lost knowledge continues to this day, driven by a desire to reconnect with the past and unlock the secrets held within ancient traditions.
Some researchers believe that clues to the original formula may lie hidden within ancient texts, waiting to be deciphered. Others are exploring archaeological sites, hoping to unearth remnants of ancient laboratories or workshops where chrism oil may have been produced.
The rediscovery of this lost formula, if it were to occur, would be a momentous event, potentially offering insights into ancient spiritual practices and beliefs. While the original chrism oil formula remains elusive, the symbolic power and spiritual resonance of this ancient concoction continue to captivate the imagination. In recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in chrism oil, with modern practitioners drawing inspiration from ancient traditions to create their own versions of this sacred oil.
These modern interpretations of chrism oil, while not claiming to replicate the exact composition of their ancient counterparts, often incorporate essential oils and botanicals believed to possess therapeutic properties. These oils are used in aromatherapy, meditation, and spiritual practices, their scents intended to evoke feelings of peace, tranquility, and connection to the divine.
The use of chrism oil in the 21st century reflects a broader trend of seeking meaning and solace in ancient wisdom. As individuals grapple with the complexities of modern life, many are turning to time-tested traditions and practices, seeking guidance, inspiration, and a sense of grounding in a rapidly changing world. Chrism oil, from its ancient origins to its modern-day interpretations, stands as a testament to the enduring power of belief, ritual, and the human desire to connect with the divine. Whether viewed through the lens of history, religion, or spirituality, chrism oil continues to fascinate, inspire, and provoke contemplation. Its story is a reminder that some things, even when lost or forgotten, have a way of resurfacing, their significance undiminished by the passage of time. The search for the original chrism oil formula, while uncertain in its outcome, reflects a deeper human yearning, a desire to unearth the wisdom of the past, to reconnect with our spiritual roots, and to rediscover the sacred in an increasingly secular world. The legacy of chrism oil, passed down through generations, continues to shape our understanding of faith, healing, and the enduring relationship between the material and the divine. As we continue to explore the mysteries of this ancient concoction, we embark on a journey of discovery, not only of the past but also of ourselves and our place in the grand tapestry of human experience.
Hey there, health enthusiasts. Imagine an ancient oil blend with the power to heal what modern medicine deems incurable. Today I'm diving into the fascinating world of chrism oil, a miraculous concoction of olive oil, cannabis extract, cassia, myrrh and cinnamon. Now, let's get one thing straight. This isn't just some wellness fad. Chrism oil has been around since biblical times, even mentioned in Exodus 30, 22-33. But today, it's stepping into the spotlight with claims as bold as they are astounding. From brain metastases to severe rheumatoid arthritis, users are reporting recoveries that sound almost too good to be true. So, what's behind these jaw-dropping stories? Enter the fertile ground hypothesis. This theory suggests that chronic stress is the silent killer that lays the groundwork for disease. We're talking cortisol overload, oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, elements that set the stage for serious illness. And Chrism oil, it's theorized to wipe that slate clean. Let's break down the magic. Chrism oil is a precise blend. 4 milliliters olive oil, 4G cannabis extract, 8G cassia, 8G myrrh, and 4G cinnamon. Each ingredient plays a crucial role. Olive oil's polyphenols fight oxidative stress. Cannabis extracts, CBD and THC, reduce inflammation. Cassia and cinnamon boost circulation, while myrrh regenerates tissues and strengthens immunity. When you apply Chrism oil, you might feel a burning, tingling sensation. It's said to detect and dismantle damaged tissues, kickstarting the healing process. People are witnessing results that modern medicine can't explain. Dr. Sławek Wojtowicz, in his book, calls it a biochemical marvel. Stories of stunning recoveries abound. Late-stage cancers, ALS, severe arthritis, all seeing remarkable turnarounds. But how does it work? Olive oil's polyphenols combat oxidative stress, slowing cellular damage. Cannabis extracts storms inflammation and calms the immune system. Cassia and cinnamon boost blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients. Myrrh helps repair and regenerate damaged tissues. Could Chrism oil even unlock epigenetic changes? The fertile ground hypothesis suggests that stress locks in disease at a cellular level. Chrism oil might just unlock it, turning the tide against illness fire. Now imagine the future. Chrism oil as a preventative and therapeutic tool, anointing astronauts before missions, aiding athletes in recovery, and helping doctors catch diseases early. The potential is seismic. Of course, we need more scientific evidence, clinical trials to map its molecular magic, but the anecdotal evidence is compelling. People once deemed incurable are now walking, working, and living again. Chrism oil isn't just a remedy, it's a revolution. So are you ready to join the movement? Stay curious, stay hopeful, and consult your healthcare provider before trying any new treatment. The future of healing is here, and it's rewriting the rules. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more health insights. See you next time. The Bible presents a complex tapestry of divinity, woven with threads of both love and wrath. On one hand, we encounter the God of the Old Testament, a figure of immense power and unyielding justice. This God demands obedience and metes out punishment with an iron fist. On the other hand, the New Testament introduces us to Jesus, who reveals a God of love, mercy, and forgiveness. This stark contrast has led many to question the true nature of the divine and the relationship between these seemingly disparate aspects of God. The Old Testament God is a God of covenants and commandments. He establishes his authority through awe-inspiring displays of power, from the parting of the Red Sea to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Obedience to his law is paramount, and transgressions are met with swift and often severe consequences. This God is a jealous God, demanding exclusive worship and punishing idolatry with unwavering zeal. The New Testament, however, paints a different picture. Jesus, in his teachings and actions, emphasizes love, compassion, and forgiveness. He teaches his followers to love their enemies, to forgive those who have wronged them, and to extend grace to all. This radical message of love seems to stand in stark contrast to the vengeful God of the Old Testament. This apparent contradiction has puzzled theologians and believers for centuries. Is the God of the Old Testament the same God revealed through Jesus? Or are we dealing with two distinct deities, each reflecting a different aspect of the divine nature? To unravel this mystery, we must delve deeper into the scriptures, exploring the darker narratives of the Old Testament and the insights offered by mystics and visionaries. The Old Testament is replete with stories that highlight the fearsome and often perplexing aspects of God's nature. The binding of Isaac, for instance, presents a disturbing narrative in which God commands Abraham to sacrifice his own son as a test of faith. This tale raises profound questions about the nature of obedience and the limits of divine command. Similarly, the story of Noah's Ark depicts God unleashing a catastrophic flood upon the earth, wiping out nearly all of humanity. While often interpreted as an act of divine justice, the sheer scale of destruction raises questions about the proportionality of punishment and the value of human life in God's eyes. The story of Cain and Abel offers another glimpse into the darker side of the Old Testament God. Cain, consumed by jealousy, murders his brother Abel. God, rather than immediately punishing Cain, places a mark upon him, protecting him from harm but condemning him to a life of wandering and isolation. This act suggests a complex understanding of justice, one that encompasses both punishment and a strange form of mercy. These stories, while open to interpretation, reveal a God who is often unpredictable, demanding, and seemingly unconcerned with the suffering of humanity. Such narratives have led some to question the benevolence of the Old Testament God and to seek alternative interpretations of his nature. Throughout history, mystics and visionaries have grappled with the contrasting portrayals of God in the Bible. Many have concluded that the God of wrath and vengeance depicted in the Old Testament is not the true God, but a lesser deity, perhaps even a demonic entity masquerading as the divine. The 17th century German mystic Jacob Boehme, for instance, believed that the God of the Old Testament represented the wrathful aspect of the divine, which he termed the fire of wrath. Boehme argued that this force was necessary for the purification of the soul, but that it was ultimately subservient to the true God of love and compassion. Similarly, the medieval mystic Meister Eckhart distinguished between the Godhead, the unknowable essence of the divine, and the God of creation, who he believed was a lesser manifestation of the divine. Eckhart taught that true enlightenment involved transcending the God of the Old Testament and embracing the God of love revealed through Jesus. These mystics, while offering different interpretations, shared a common belief that the God of wrath and vengeance was not the ultimate source of goodness and love. They saw the Old Testament narratives as symbolic representations of spiritual truths, rather than literal historical accounts. The idea of the Old Testament God being a demonic entity, while seemingly radical, has found resonance among some thinkers. They point to the God of the Old Testament's penchant for violence, his jealous nature, and his demands for unquestioning obedience as evidence of a malevolent force seeking to control and manipulate humanity. This perspective argues that the devil, often depicted as the deceiver, could easily masquerade as a righteous and powerful God, using fear and intimidation to ensnare his followers. The Old Testament, in this view, becomes a cautionary tale about the dangers of blind faith and the importance of discerning the true nature of the divine. While this interpretation remains controversial, it highlights the profound questions raised by the contrasting portrayals of God in the Bible. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable aspects of the Old Testament and to grapple with the nature of good and evil in the context of religious belief. In the face of these theological complexities, the teachings of Jesus offer a radical alternative. Jesus' message of love, forgiveness, and compassion stands in stark contrast to the vengeful God of the Old Testament. He calls his followers to embrace a different way of being, one rooted in love rather than fear, in forgiveness rather than retribution. Jesus' teachings suggest that the true nature of God is not to be found in wrath and vengeance, but in love and mercy. He emphasizes the importance of compassion, urging his followers to care for the sick, the poor, and the marginalized. His message is one of radical inclusivity, extending grace to all, regardless of their past transgressions. By embodying love and forgiveness in his own life, Jesus offers a compelling alternative to the fear-based religion of the Old Testament. He invites us to see beyond the God of wrath and to embrace the God of love, a God who seeks not to punish but to heal, not to condemn but to redeem. In doing so, Jesus reveals a path to spiritual liberation, one that leads not through obedience to a set of rules, but through the transformative power of love.
What's something people don't know about Chrism oil? It's more than just a tradition, it's a spiritual revelation. Chrism oil, a sacred blend of olive oil, cannabis, and essential spices, was once used to detect and remove sin. When applied to the skin, it reveals hidden sins and diseases through reactions like burning and itching. These intense effects signify spiritual cleansing, offering you a path to true purity. This powerful oil, rooted in ancient wisdom, isn't just a remedy, it's a critical tool for your spiritual journey. Ready to uncover your hidden sins? Experience Chrism oil and walk the ancient path of purity.
The sun beats down on the desert, sand stretches as far as the eye can see. A lone figure holds a book. Its pages are old, filled with ancient stories. This is the Bible, a book of mysteries. For centuries, people have read its words, searching for truth. But what if the truth is stranger than we ever imagined? What if the Bible holds the key to an extraterrestrial past? Some believe the Bible tells a story of alien contact. They point to strange beings and unexplained events. Could the gods of the Bible have been something other than divine? Could they have been visitors from the stars? The answer hidden in ancient texts might surprise you. Prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew. Get ready to explore the possibility that our gods were reptilian aliens. The Bible is full of strange tales. Giants walk the earth, angels descend from the heavens, and a serpent tempts humanity with forbidden knowledge. These stories, once taken literally, are now often seen as allegory, but what if they hold a deeper truth? What if they are glimpses into a past where reptilian beings walked among us? Genesis, the first book of the Bible, speaks of the Nephilim. These were giants, the offspring of sons of God and human women. Were these sons of God simply angels, as some believe, or could they have been something more reptilian? Their offspring, the Nephilim, were known for their size and strength. Could this be evidence of genetic manipulation by an advanced reptilian species? The Book of Enoch, a non-canonical text, sheds more light on these celestial beings. It describes the Watchers, angels who descended to earth and interacted with humans. These Watchers, led by the enigmatic Azazel, taught humanity forbidden knowledge. This knowledge, according to the text, led to the corruption of humankind. Were these Watchers benevolent teachers or something more sinister? Some believe the Watchers were not angels at all, but reptilian aliens. They point to descriptions of their appearance and behavior. Their advanced technology and genetic experiments, as described in the Book of Enoch, suggest an otherworldly origin. The Nephilim, the product of their interbreeding with humans, could be seen as evidence of their reptilian influence. The Old Testament is filled with tales of sacrifice. Animals, and sometimes even humans, were offered to appease the wrath of God. But what if these sacrifices served a more literal purpose? What if they were a way to satiate the hunger of reptilian overlords? The Bible describes God's pleasure at the smell of burning flesh. Could this be evidence of a reptilian sense of smell? Ancient astronaut theorists believe so. They point to the widespread practice of sacrifice in ancient cultures as evidence of a shared reptilian influence. Even the story of Abraham and Isaac, where God asks Abraham to sacrifice his own son, can be seen through this lens. Was this a test of loyalty, or a demand for a more potent sacrifice? If your gods have scales and slit pupils, maybe it's time to reconsider your scriptures. Welcome to the world of reptilian deities. Picture a vast desert, ancient and desolate. Tall, robed figures with slit pupils and scaled skin. These were the sons of God watching humanity. Their intentions? Unnervingly cold and calculating. The Nephilim, hybrids of human and reptile, displayed impossible strength and dominance. Were they the true demigods of our myths? The Book of Enoch reveals the Watchers descending Mount Hermon, sharing forbidden knowledge with mankind, metalworking, weaponry, astronomy, gifts with a price. After the flood, Noah's offerings rose in smoke. But whose nostrils flared at the scent? Subtle scales hinted at a hidden truth. Were Cain, Abel, Abraham and Isaac pawns in a reptilian game? Ezekiel's visions of wheels within wheels, fiery beings, alien and mechanized. And the Transfiguration, where Jesus' glow revealed more than divine light. A hint of scales, a glimpse of another form. As we unravel these ancient secrets, one question remains. Were the gods we worship not gods at all, but reptilian overseers? To
Okej, co tu jest? Chodź. Chodź tutaj, szukaj. Chodź tutaj. Tutaj, szukaj. Get it. Get it. Szukaj, szukaj. Szybko, szybko. Chodź, chodź. Chodź tutaj. Chodź.
Ever wonder why some believe dogs and Jesus ward off demons? Let's dive into this fascinating idea. According to Muslim tradition, Allah and his agents have an unusual fear of dogs, much like vampires with crosses. It's also said they avoid homes with images of Jesus. Curious, isn't it? In Sahih al-Bukhari, Book 54, Hadith 539, Aisha narrates how Jibril, the archangel, was delayed visiting the Prophet. He later revealed, "We do not enter a house where there is a picture or a dog." This leaves us pondering, are there cosmic rules and ancient fears beyond our understanding? Who knows? Stop thinking demons are a myth. They're real, and they're probably closer than you think. Intrigued yet, they gnaw, they chew, they feast, not on bones, not on flesh, but on something far juicier. Your soul marinated in malice, slow-roasted in regret. They are slow eaters, these fiends, savouring every last shred of you, lapping up the lies, the hate, the greed. A 5-star meal in the house of sin. But here's the joke. Demons are stupid. A bit of light, a whisper of truth, a name spoken with courage, and poof, they scatter like rats. Go on, cast them out, burn some sage, say a prayer, shout them into oblivion. It's all good fun, unless they've already licked the plate clean. Unless you are hollow, just an echo. A puppet dancing on strings held by the void itself. Too late then.
Wicked. Watch that. Oh, okay. Whoops. Go get it. Go get it. Szukaj. Gdzie to jest?
Animal shelters. They evoke images of wagging tails and hopeful eyes, places where lost pets find safety and abandoned animals find love. Yet this idyllic picture masks a darker reality. Behind the smiling faces and heartwarming adoption stories lies a grim truth. Many shelters, despite their compassionate facade, operate with a shocking lack of empathy for the very creatures entrusted to their care. This exposé will pull back the curtain on the dark side of animal shelters, revealing the harsh realities that animals face within their walls. Shelters are often seen as the last line of defense for vulnerable animals. They are where we bring strays, surrender our pets when times get tough, and look to adopt new furry family members. We trust these institutions to provide care, compassion, and a chance at a better life for animals in need. But what happens when the very places meant to protect them become prisons of despair? What happens when the promise of sanctuary turns into a death sentence? The heartbreaking truth is that many shelters are failing the animals they are supposed to serve. They have become places where hope fades with each passing day, and where euthanasia, not adoption, is often the default solution. This is not a judgment on the many compassionate individuals who work tirelessly in shelters, often battling against the system itself. This is an indictment of a system that has lost its way, a system that prioritizes expediency over compassion, and a system that needs a radical overhaul. Euthanasia. It's a word that strikes fear and sadness into the hearts of animal lovers. In the context of animal shelters, it represents a tragic failure, a failure to uphold the very values of compassion and care they claim to espouse. While shelters might argue that euthanasia is a necessary evil, a last resort for terminally ill or aggressive animals, the reality is far more disturbing. Euthanasia is often the go-to solution for perfectly healthy and adoptable animals, simply because shelters lack the resources, the space, or frankly, the will to save them. The reasons behind this euthanasia epidemic are complex and multifaceted. Shelters often operate with limited budgets, inadequate staffing, and a constant influx of animals. However, these challenges do not excuse the callous disregard for life that pervades many shelters. Instead of focusing on adoption initiatives, community outreach, and proactive programs to reduce intake, many shelters choose the easiest, albeit the most heartbreaking option: ending a life instead of saving one. This culture of euthanasia is perpetuated by an outdated and inhumane philosophy that views animals as disposable commodities. It's a mindset that fails to recognize the inherent value of each individual animal life and instead sees them as numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a system that has become desensitized to the suffering and the silent pleas of the animals in its care. Many shelters rely heavily on public donations. Well-meaning individuals open their hearts and their wallets, believing their contributions will directly improve the lives of animals in need. However, the truth about how these donations are used is often far from transparent. While some funds undoubtedly go towards essential care, a significant portion is often misdirected, lining the pockets of administrators or funding expensive advertising campaigns that prioritize image over impact. Instead of using donations to improve living conditions, provide enrichment for the animals, or fund adoption events, many shelters prioritize self-preservation. high salaries for executives, lavish fundraising galas, and misleading marketing campaigns designed to tug at heartstrings become the priority, while the animals themselves languish in overcrowded and understimulated environments. This lack of transparency and accountability is a betrayal of the public's trust. Donors deserve to know that their contributions are being used responsibly and ethically. Shelters must be held accountable for every dollar received, ensuring that the well-being of the animals remains the paramount concern. Pollen, a simple word, holds immense weight in Jewish history. It signifies Poland geographically, but for Jews it resonates with a deeper spiritual meaning. Pollen, derived from the Hebrew polin, translates to "here you shall rest." This phrase, found in the biblical story of Jacob, transformed Poland into a symbolic haven. It became a land of promise and refuge for centuries. The story of Jews in Poland began with welcome. Facing persecution in Western Europe, Jewish communities migrated eastward. Poland, with its relative tolerance and open spaces, became a sanctuary. Polish rulers, recognizing the economic and cultural contributions of Jews, encouraged their settlement. Over time, Poland blossomed into a center of Jewish life. It nurtured vibrant communities, renowned scholars, and a unique cultural fusion. The Yiddish language, born from this blend of German and Hebrew, became the lingua franca of Ashkenazi Jews. The concept of Poland transcended its geographical meaning. It embodied a profound spiritual truth for the Jewish people. Poland, as a place of refuge, became intertwined with the divine presence, the Shekinah. The Shekinah, a feminine aspect of God representing God's dwelling among humanity, found resonance in Poland. This belief fostered a deep connection to the land and a sense of belonging. Synagogues, places of prayer and learning, became spiritual oases. Each act of kindness, every moment of shared joy, reaffirmed the presence of the divine in this adopted homeland. The Holocaust, a cataclysmic event of unparalleled horror, forever altered the meaning of Poland. The very ground that was once a haven became a graveyard. Nazi Germany's systematic genocide decimated the once thriving Jewish communities of Poland. The promise of "here you shall rest" was brutally shattered. Poland, once a testament to resilience and faith, now stands as a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for evil. The ashes of Auschwitz and Treblinka are a searing indictment of hatred and intolerance, yet even in the face of such unimaginable loss, the spirit of resilience endures.
What if this life is only a dream, a flickering reel in a darkened room, your laughter, your sorrow, your dearest loves no more than shadows on a silver screen? What if you are not the dreamer, but the one watching, breath held as the story unfolds, believing every whispered lie of time? What if the prayers you whisper at night rise to a God who is only a name, a mirage built of longing, a house of wind and echoes? And what if one morning the curtain falls, the lights flare on, and you wake to your real life? Not the one of ticking clocks and fading years, but the one you always knew was waiting, just beyond the edge of sleep, where the hands of the true God reach for you at last. Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going on a journey back in time to explore a powerful ingredient that's been used for centuries, birch bark tar. Welcome to our deep dive into the traditional cosmetic uses of birch bark tar. You know I'm all about sharing those hidden gems, those ancient beauty secrets that have stood the test of time. This natural remedy has been cherished for centuries for its powerful skincare benefits. From soothing irritated skin to promoting hair growth, birch bark tar is like this powerhouse ingredient that deserves a spot on your radar. So if you're ready to unleash your inner radiant goddess with the help of Mother Nature's best, keep watching. Let's start with skin care, because you guys know how obsessed I am with glowing, healthy skin. Birch bark tar has been a skincare staple for ages, especially in traditional medicine. Imagine battling annoying skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, and even acne. Birch bark tar was there to the rescue. This incredible ingredient has natural antiseptic properties, which means it helps cleanse the skin and calm down any redness or irritation. It's like a soothing balm for your skin, bringing relief and balance. And the best part? It works wonders for all skin types. Whether you're dealing with dryness, oiliness, or those pesky breakouts, birch bark tar can help restore your skin's natural harmony. It's like hitting the reset button on your complexion. Okay, let's talk hair. We all dream of having luscious, healthy locks, right? Well, guess what? Birch bark tar has been a secret weapon for centuries in hair care. This magic ingredient has been added to shampoos and hair treatments to combat those annoying scalp issues like dandruff and itchiness. Its antifungal properties work wonders in keeping your scalp clean, balanced, and flake-free, but that's not all. Birch bark tar also helps regulate oil production, so if you're struggling with greasy roots, this natural remedy can be a game changer in your hair care routine. Now, let's talk about aging gracefully. We all want to age beautifully, right? Birch bark tar was traditionally mixed with herbal balms and used topically to help reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. This ancient works by boosting blood circulation to the skin surface, which helps to plump up the skin and minimize those visible signs of aging. It's like turning back the clock on your skin. And because birch bark tar is a natural antioxidant, it helps protect your skin from environmental damage, keeping it looking youthful and radiant. For centuries, people have been using birch bark tar to create these amazing, deep cleansing soaps. In Eastern Europe and Russia, these soaps were a staple in every household because of their purifying effects on the skin. Imagine a soap that not only cleanses your skin, but also tackles acne, blackheads, and excess oil. That's the power of birch bark tar soap. It's like a detox for your skin, leaving it feeling refreshed, revitalized, and squeaky clean. These soaps are especially beneficial for those with oily and acne-prone skin because they help to unclog pores, remove impurities, and balance oil production without stripping the skin of its natural moisture. Okay, let's be real for a second. Dealing with body odor is not cute, but guess what? Our ancestors had it figured out centuries ago with, you guessed it, birch bark tar. This natural ingredient has a very distinct smoky aroma that might not be everyone's cup of tea, but trust me, it was a game changer before modern deodorants came along. Birch bark tar's antibacterial properties worked wonders in neutralizing odor-causing bacteria, keeping you feeling fresh and confident all day long. It's like nature's own deodorant. So there you have it, my loves. Birch bark tar, an ancient beauty secret that has stood the test of time. Although its distinct scent may not appeal to everyone, birch bark tar remains a treasured natural remedy in traditional cosmetics. From skincare to hair care and even natural deodorants, this ingredient has so much to offer. It's like having a piece of ancient wisdom in your beauty routine. For those seeking potent, plant-based skincare solutions, birch bark tar is definitely worth exploring. If you're as fascinated by this incredible ingredient as I am, check out more about birch bark tar and its benefits at the link in the description. Until next time, stay beautiful.
They called me sinner, and I laughed, because what is sin when love walks beside you? They called me sinner, and I laughed, because what is sin when love walks beside you?
Do you know what she is?
They scorned my hands, but those hands touched the face of God. They shamed my lips, yet those lips whispered his name in the dark, when even the stars dared not speak.
Your faith has saved you.
The wind knew, the river knew, the olive trees murmured my secret. I was not a shadow, not a ghost in his story, but the ink in which it was written. They buried him and I wept. They sealed the tomb and I stayed. The men ran in fear, but I walked into the dawn.
Mary, do not hold on to me. Go tell them.
And I, who had held him in life, now held him in light. Not a sinner, not a servant, but the heart he left beating in the world.
The horizon burns in shades of gold and crimson. A lone figure walks barefoot through the dust. Mary Magdalene, her robe flowing like liquid shadow, her breath steady. The world is silent except for the whisper of the wind. Mary Magdalene's voice echoes in the air. Aby żyć wiecznie, zatrzymaj się, przestań grzeszyć. She stops. A glow flickers in the distance. A man in white stands on a hill, bathed in the last light of the sun. Jesus. His presence bends the air. Softly Jesus speaks, Bądź jak ja. She exhales, steps forward. Fragments of marble, a forgotten altar. A vessel of oil sits in the dust, untouched for centuries. Mary kneels before it, her fingers brushing the lid. Her voice resonates, Tioże ciało tu archiwum, skarbiec danych przewinień. She opens the vessel. A fragrance rises, deep, ancient, electric. Her pupils dilate, the air shimmers. Flesh images, hands anointing the foreheads of the sick, a serpent shedding its skin, a temple collapsing into dust. Mary Magdalene's voice whispers, Olejek Chrisma, starożytny I cierpliwy, szepcze gdzie się ukryły. The oil glows faintly in the dim light. She dips her fingers into it, presses them to her heart. The world shifts. Suddenly, she is in a bustling street, unseen. A sick man clutches his chest, gasping. A Pharisee walks past, sneering. Grzech sprowadza chorobę, he says. The sick man collapses. People turn away. Jesus kneels beside him, touching his forehead. The man's body stills. His eyes open, clear. Jesus speaks, Oto, wyzdrowiałeś. Nie grzesz więcej, aby ci się coś gorszego nie przydarzyło. Mary gasps, pulled from the vision. Her hands tremble, slick with oil. Przestań grzeszyć, a przestaniesz umierać, echoes Mary Magdalene's voice. The temple around her shifts. The walls whisper, cracks heal, time rewinds. Mist curls over the water. Mary kneels at the river's edge, washing the oil from her hands. The sky brightens. Post wypala to, co stare. Yoga rozwiązuje to, co splątane. Praca z oddechem porusza wody. Modlitwa, jak powolny świt, rozgrzewa to, co było zamarznięte. Mary Magdalene's voice reflects. She rises. Her reflection in the water shifts. For a moment, she sees herself as light. The scene unfolds in a secret chamber, an unknown time. A stone table stands at the center. An ancient scroll lies open, and a hand traces the words inscribed upon it. It's an ancient recipe. Mary Magdalene's voice echoes, Formuła nie eliksir, ale przypomnienie. The ingredients shimmer on the parchment, appearing almost alive. Olive oil, cannabis, cassia, myrrh, and cinnamon. Now, we find ourselves in the city streets at dusk. Mary walks through the modern-day crowd. The city hums with neon light. She moves past people who are coughing, aging, and dying in slow motion. She stops. A man sits against a wall, shivering. She kneels and offers him a vial of chrism oil. Mary softly says, Nie musisz umierać. The man looks up and takes it. His eyes widen as warmth spreads through his veins. The city around them pulses, brighter and clearer. Mary stands at the edge of a rooftop, looking over the glowing city. Her voice resonates. Ciało nie jest bezbronne. Stworzone zostało z systemem, cichym strażnikiem, uzdrowicielem tkwiącym w jego wnętrzu. She closes her eyes as the wind stirs, and the world hums with an ancient power returning. The screen fades to black. The words appear. Dawid się jak obmyć swoje grzechy. A link is shown, https://amazon.com, how wash your sins away, DP, B0DLGJB44WQ. A faint sound of a single breath is heard, signifying a new beginning.
Since time immemorial, humans have understood the power of touch. Across cultures and continents, massage has been an integral part of healing traditions. From the ancient Ayurvedic practices of India to the Tui Na techniques of China, civilizations have recognized the therapeutic benefits of manipulating the body's soft tissues. Massage can ease muscle tension, improve circulation, and promote a sense of well-being. It's a practice deeply rooted in our history, offering solace and restoration for millennia. Yet for all its enduring presence, massage therapy has often been relegated to the realm of alternative medicine in modern Western societies. While gaining acceptance for its ability to alleviate pain and reduce stress, it has yet to be fully embraced as a primary medical treatment. But what if an ancient secret hidden for centuries held the key to unlocking the full potential of massage therapy? What if this secret could revolutionize our approach to health and wellness, bridging the gap between traditional wisdom and modern medicine? Deep within the annals of history lies the story of Chrism oil, a sacred anointing oil mentioned in ancient texts. This enigmatic oil, once used by civilizations past for its potent healing properties, was believed to possess extraordinary therapeutic benefits. Legends spoke of its ability to alleviate pain, accelerate healing, and even combat serious ailments. But as empires crumbled and knowledge faded into obscurity, the precise formulation of Chrism oil was lost to time. For centuries, the secrets of Chrism oil remained hidden, buried beneath layers of history. Then, a remarkable discovery breathed new life into this ancient tradition. Ethnobotanist Sarah Bennett, while researching Polish folk remedies in the early 20th century, stumbled upon intriguing clues suggesting the oil's continued existence. Her work sparked renewed interest in Chrism oil, setting in motion a quest to unlock its mysteries. Decades later, a team of researchers at Stanford University, armed with Bennett's findings and fragments of ancient texts, embarked on a groundbreaking endeavor to reconstruct this lost elixir. The Stanford team's meticulous research, spanning years of dedicated effort, culminated in a pivotal moment, the successful reconstruction of Chrism oil. But what they discovered went beyond merely replicating an ancient recipe. Their analysis revealed a profound synergy between the oil's individual components, a carefully orchestrated blend designed to work in harmony with the body's intricate systems. Chrism oil wasn't just a random concoction, it was a testament to the advanced understanding our ancestors had of nature's healing power. At the heart of Chrism oil's efficacy lies a fascinating interplay between its potent ingredients and the body's physiological responses to stress. Chronic stress, as modern medicine has come to understand, wreaks havoc on our systems, creating a breeding ground for inflammation, disease, and premature aging. Chrism oil, with its unique blend of botanical extracts, appears to counteract these harmful effects, effectively addressing the root cause of many modern ailments. It's as if this ancient remedy holds the key to unlocking the body's innate healing potential, guiding it back to a state of balance and vitality. Section 4. The formulation Nature's Symphony of Healing. The power of Chrism oil lies not only in its historical significance, but also in its carefully chosen ingredients. Each component plays a crucial role, working synergistically to create a powerful healing agent. Olive oil. This base oil, rich in antioxidants, serves as a carrier for the other ingredients, facilitating their absorption and enhancing their therapeutic benefits. Cannabis extract. A potent anti-inflammatory cannabis extract, rich in cannabinoids like CBD and THC, provides pain relief, reduces inflammation, and promotes relaxation. Cassia, Known for its antimicrobial and vasodilatory properties, cassia boosts circulation, fights infection, and supports metabolic function. Myrrh, this ancient resin, revered for its healing properties, promotes wound healing, reduces inflammation, and supports the immune system. Cinnamon, a powerful antioxidant, cinnamon helps regulate blood sugar levels, combats oxidative stress, and enhances circulation, promoting healing and overall well-being. Together, these ingredients form a powerful symphony of healing, each one complementing and enhancing the effects of the others. It's a testament to the wisdom of ancient healers who understood the intricate relationship between nature and the human body. Chrism oil is not merely a collection of ingredients, it's a carefully crafted formula that harnesses the power of nature to restore balance and promote healing. Section 5. A new era of healing, Chrism oil and the future of medicine. The rediscovery of Chrism oil has the potential to revolutionize modern medicine, offering a new paradigm for treating a wide range of conditions. Imagine a world where massage therapy, empowered by Chrism oil, transitions from a complementary practice to a recognized medical treatment, covered by insurance and integrated into mainstream healthcare. This ancient remedy could hold the key to addressing the growing crisis of chronic diseases, offering a natural and effective alternative to pharmaceuticals, with their often undesirable side effects. Early clinical trials exploring the effects of Chrism oil massage therapy have shown promising results in managing conditions like arthritis, chronic pain, and even diabetic wounds. The oil's ability to reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and promote tissue regeneration has garnered interest from medical professionals seeking effective and holistic treatment options for their patients. As research continues and more data becomes available, Chrism oil could usher in a new era of healthcare, one where ancient wisdom and modern science work hand in hand to unlock the body's full healing potential. The future of medicine might just lie in the past, waiting to be rediscovered and embraced. Imagine a world where every need is met, every hunger satisfied, food, water, warmth, safety, all provided in abundance. This was the world created by scientist John Calhoun for his mice, a utopia designed to see what happens when paradise is handed on a silver platter. At first, it was a dream. The mice thrived. They ran, played, bred and built nests. Mothers nurtured their young, fathers fought for territory. Life was good. But then something changed. The strong began to take more than they needed. The weak withdrew. Mothers ignored their offspring, or worse, devoured them. Males stopped fighting. Some stopped mating. Others, lost in their own vanity, groomed themselves obsessively. They ate, they waited without knowing for what. The young began to die, abandoned, attacked, left to perish in the straw. The birth rate plummeted, nests emptied. The cycle of life halted. In the shadows, a darker force emerged. Cannibalism, senseless violence. The strongest crushed the weakest, not for survival, but out of sheer aimlessness. With no purpose left, power descended into madness. John Calhoun watched, noted, repeated 25 times. Each time, paradise turned to chaos. Abundance led to silence. The lesson was stark, without struggle, without need, life itself unraveled. What happens when all our needs are met? When comfort blunts the edge of necessity? The mice had everything, yet in the end they had nothing. He closed his notebook. The cages were still. A perfect world indeed. The air in Santa Cruz buzzed with a different kind of excitement. Gone were the usual whispers of surf breaks and beach bonfires. A new story was unfolding, a whisper of something grander, something revolutionary. The Coastal Eden Project, it was called. A botanical garden unlike any other, stretching along the Pacific coast all the way to Pescadero. The rumors swirled, fueled by the scale of the undertaking. This was not just a garden, it was an ambitious vision for the future. The Coastal Eden project promised a living laboratory of biodiversity, a sanctuary for endangered plants, and a beacon of hope for a planet grappling with climate change. It was a bold statement, a commitment to harnessing the power of nature to address the pressing challenges of our time. Food security, ecological preservation, and sustainable living were at the heart of this ambitious project. The Coastal Eden project was more than just a garden. It was a blueprint for a greener future. And so, amidst the whispers and the anticipation, the Coastal Eden project began to take root, capturing the imagination of a community and igniting a spark of hope across the globe. The Coastal Eden project sprawled across the California coastline, a verdant tapestry woven from the land itself. From the vibrant surf town of Santa Cruz to the tranquil shores of Pescadero, the garden unfolded over miles of carefully curated landscapes. It was a living testament to the diversity of our planet, a botanical symphony in green. Imagine stepping through the grand entrance, greeted by the warm embrace of the Mediterranean zone. Olive groves and citrus trees bathed in the golden California sun, their leaves whispering tales of ancient lands. As you wander deeper, the air grows heavy with the intoxicating aroma of jasmine and hibiscus, transporting you to the tropics. Further still, the path leads to a bamboo forest, its emerald stalks swaying gently in the breeze. The air is cool and damp, the ground soft beneath your feet. You are transported to the heart of Asia, surrounded by the serenity of nature. The Coastal Eden project was a journey across continents, a celebration of the botanical wonders of our world, all within reach of a single footstep. The Coastal Eden project was a marvel of microclimates, each carefully designed to mimic the unique environmental conditions required to cultivate a diverse range of flora. From the cool, misty embrace of a cloud forest to the sun-drenched slopes of a Mediterranean hillside, every corner of the garden was a testament to the ingenuity of its creators. The tropical zone, a symphony of vibrant colors and exotic scents, showcased the rich biodiversity of rainforests. Here, towering mahogany trees cast long shadows over delicate orchids, while playful monkeys swung from the branches overhead. The air hummed with the sounds of life, a constant reminder of the delicate balance of these precious ecosystems. In contrast, the arid zone offered a glimpse into the resilience of life in the face of adversity. Cacti and succulents, masters of water conservation, stood tall against a backdrop of sand dunes and sun-bleached rocks. The air was dry and still, the silence broken only by the rustle of a lizard darting for cover. And then there was the temperate zone, a celebration of the familiar flora of California's own coastal regions. Towering redwoods, ancient sentinels of the forest, reached for the sky, their branches draped in a delicate veil of moss. Wildflowers carpeted the forest floor in a riot of color, while the air was filled with the sweet songs of birdsong. Each zone was a world unto itself, a testament to the diversity and wonder of our planet. The Coastal Eden project wasn't confined to the land. It extended beneath the waves into the heart of the Pacific Ocean. An underwater tunnel, a marvel of engineering and design, led visitors on a breathtaking journey into the kelp forests and coral reefs that lay beneath the surface. Imagine descending into the cool blue depths, the sunlight fading above as you enter a world of otherworldly beauty. Schools of silverfish shimmered in the light, while graceful sea turtles glided effortlessly through the kelp. The tunnel's acrylic walls provided a panoramic view of this underwater realm, allowing visitors to come face to face with creatures they had only dreamed of. The Coastal Eden project's commitment to marine conservation was evident in every detail of the underwater exhibit. It served as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of protecting our oceans for generations to come. The underwater tunnel was more than just an attraction. It was a portal to another world, a world that was both beautiful and fragile, urging visitors to contemplate the impact of their actions on the delicate balance of marine life. Section 5, Guardians of the Native Heritage. At the heart of the Coastal Eden project lay a deep respect for the land and its original stewards, the indigenous people of California. The project recognized their ancestral knowledge of the land and incorporated their wisdom into its conservation efforts. The native plant sanctuary, a place of reverence and reflection, showcased the diversity and resilience of California's native flora. Here, visitors could learn about the traditional uses of plants for food, medicine, and ceremony, passed down through generations of indigenous knowledge. The Coastal Eden Project collaborated closely with indigenous communities, involving them in every aspect of the garden's design and management. This ensured that the project not only preserved the ecological integrity of the land, but also honored the cultural heritage it represented. The Coastal Eden Project stood as a testament to the power of collaboration, bridging the gap between cultures and fostering a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of humanity and nature. Section 6. Fruits of the Future. Nestled within the heart of this botanical wonderland was the Fruit Research Institute, a state-of-the-art facility dedicated to the study and propagation of fruit-bearing plants from around the globe. This wasn't just about preserving rare varieties, it was about pushing the boundaries of agricultural science. Scientists at the Institute were engaged in groundbreaking research, exploring new techniques for cultivating fruits in a changing climate. They were developing drought-resistant varieties, experimenting with vertical farming methods, and investigating the potential of ancient grains to address food security concerns. The Fruit Research Institute was a testament to the power of innovation, a beacon of hope in a world facing the growing challenges of climate change and food scarcity. Its mission was to ensure that future generations would continue to enjoy the bounty of nature, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. The Institute's work extended beyond the laboratory, reaching out to farmers and communities around the world, sharing knowledge and resources to promote sustainable agriculture and ensure a more food-secure future. Section 7. Cultivating community, inspiring tourism. The Coastal Eden Project wasn't just a haven for plants, it was a thriving hub for the community. It created jobs, boosted the local economy, and became a destination for eco-conscious travelers from around the globe. Local residents found employment in various capacities, from skilled horticulturalists to passionate educators. The project breathed new life into the region, fostering a sense of pride and ownership among those who lived and worked within its boundaries. Tourists flocked to experience the wonders of this botanical paradise, drawn by its promise of sustainable tourism and the opportunity to connect with nature on a deeper level. The Coastal Eden Project became a model for responsible tourism, demonstrating that economic growth and environmental stewardship could go hand in hand. The project's influence extended far beyond its physical boundaries, inspiring similar initiatives around the world and igniting a global movement towards a more sustainable future. Section 8. From Vision to Reality. A tapestry of collaboration. The Coastal Eden Project was a testament to the power of collaboration. It was the brainchild of scientists, conservationists, indigenous leaders, and government agencies, all united by a shared vision of a greener future. The project's timeline was a testament to their dedication and perseverance. It began with a series of strategic land acquisitions, carefully chosen for their ecological significance and potential for restoration. Years of planning and fundraising followed, as the project gained momentum and attracted support from a diverse range of stakeholders. Construction began in earnest, with a focus on sustainable building practices and minimal environmental impact. The project employed local labor and sourced materials responsibly, ensuring that its commitment to sustainability extended to every aspect of its creation. The Coastal Eden Project was a shining example of what could be achieved when diverse groups came together with a common purpose, demonstrating that even in the face of global challenges, hope could blossom. Section 9. A Beacon of Hope. The Coastal Eden Project's global impact. The Coastal Eden Project was more than just a botanical garden. It was a symbol of hope in a world grappling with climate change and environmental degradation. It stood as a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the resilience of nature. It reminded us that even in the face of adversity, we had the capacity to create a better future. The Coastal Eden Project inspired a global movement, encouraging individuals, communities, and nations to embrace sustainability and prioritize the health of our planet. It was a beacon of hope, shining brightly on the California coast. its light reaching out to illuminate a path towards a more sustainable and equitable future for all.
Wicked. Co tu jest, Wicked? Zobacz, chodź. Co tu jest? Szukaj.
The first seal broke. Silence, heavier than mountains, descended upon the world. A pale horse emerged from the swirling vortex, its rider cloaked in white, a crown upon his brow. His was not the silence of peace, but of the grave. From the rider's pale hand a sickly green mist spread. It seeped into every crack and crevice, every open window and unguarded lung. The world didn't erupt in screams, but choked on them. Coughing fits became death rattles, cities transformed into silent tombs. The air itself tasted of decay. The rider, a silent king, surveyed his morbid domain, his crown a mockery of life. The second seal shattered. A blood-red stallion burst forth, fire trailing in its wake. Atop it sat a warrior, clad in crimson armour, a great sword gripped in his gauntlet. His laughter echoed across the desolate landscape, a dissonant symphony of clashing steel and dying screams. Where the white horse brought silent death, the red horse brought roaring carnage. The rider revelled in the chaos, his sword drinking deep of the blood of nations. Armies clashed in pointless battles, fueled by a madness only the rider could inspire. The sky itself wept tears of fire as cities burned, and the stench of death mingled with the acrid smoke, a gruesome incense offered to the crimson god of war. The breaking of the third seal brought a chilling wind that sucked the very warmth from the world. A skeletal black horse emerged, its rider holding a set of scales, their balance eternally tipped. His voice, a raspy whisper, spoke of hunger and despair. The black horse brought neither swift death nor glorious battle. Instead, it brought the slow, agonizing torture of starvation. Fields withered and died, their bounty replaced by dust and despair. The rider watched with cold indifference as mothers sold their children for a single ear of corn, as the wealthy hoarded grain while the poor starved. The scales of justice lay shattered, replaced by the cruel scales of famine. Then the final seal cracked. Out of the abyss rose a pale horse, its rider cloaked in shadows. This was death, his skeletal hand gripping a scythe that hummed with a power that chilled the very soul. The world braced for its end. But amidst the despair, a whisper arose, a whisper of hope, of redemption. For even in the face of death, the human spirit clung to life. From the ashes of destruction, a single flower bloomed, a testament to the enduring strength of hope. The pale rider paused, his skeletal face unreadable, as if even death itself recognized the power of this fragile hope in the face of oblivion.
This is why you need to reflect. A heart restless, spinning in the dance of unfinished love. Thoughts like petals scattered in the wind, hoping to find a place to rest. Why do I fear sleep's embrace? It's not the dark that frightens me, but the boundless love waiting on the other side. What if I fall into it and never return? Where do I go when my mind fades into silence? Do I vanish, or meet the beloved in quiet spaces? Each moment a door, each blink of life a passageway into something greater. The hours slip by like whispers in a garden. Are we becoming who we're meant to be, or have we already arrived? Even in our longing, even in our fear of letting go into the arms of eternal love.
Nicholas Copernicus was born in 1473. This was a time of great change and discovery. It was the Renaissance. The Renaissance was a time of rebirth for art, science, and culture. It began in Italy and spread throughout Europe. Copernicus was born in Poland. Poland was part of a large kingdom called the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. This kingdom stretched from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. Copernicus grew up in a world of trade and learning. His family was wealthy and well-connected. He was able to receive a good education. Copernicus studied at the University of Krakow. He learned about astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy. He also studied medicine and law. After Krakow, Copernicus traveled to Italy. Italy was the heart of the Renaissance. He studied at the universities of Bologna, Padua, and Ferrara. He met many important people. In Italy, Copernicus learned about the latest scientific discoveries. He was exposed to new ways of thinking. He began to question the old ideas about the universe. Imagine Copernicus walking through the bustling streets of Florence. He might have passed Leonardo da Vinci in a crowd. Leonardo was a genius. He was a painter, sculptor, inventor, and scientist.
Perhaps Copernicus attended a lecture or a public demonstration. He might have seen Michelangelo's art. Michelangelo's art celebrated the human form. It showed a new way of seeing the world.
These encounters would have been electrifying. The Renaissance was a time of intellectual ferment. New ideas were in the air. What if Copernicus had met Leonardo da Vinci? They might have discussed astronomy and mathematics. Leonardo was fascinated by the natural world. He would have been interested in Copernicus's observations of the stars.
What if Copernicus had met Michelangelo? They might have talked about the beauty of the universe. Michelangelo's art showed a deep understanding of human anatomy and perspective. This could have influenced Copernicus's thinking about the structure of the cosmos.
Although we have no record of such meetings, the spirit of the Renaissance connected these great minds. They shared a thirst for knowledge and a desire to challenge old assumptions. Section 5. The Earth in Motion, a new vision of the cosmos. Copernicus studied the stars. He used mathematics to calculate their movements. His calculations showed something amazing. The Earth was not the center of the universe. For centuries, people believed in the geocentric model. This model placed the Earth at the center. The sun, moon, planets, and stars all revolved around the Earth. Copernicus developed a new model, the heliocentric model. This model placed the sun at the center of the solar system. The Earth and the other planets revolved around the sun. Copernicus's theory was revolutionary. It challenged the teachings of the Church. The Church taught that the Earth was the center of God's creation. Copernicus was cautious. He knew his ideas were controversial. He shared his work with only a few trusted friends. He did not want to be accused of heresy. Copernicus continued to refine his theory for many years. He made observations. He performed calculations. He wanted to be sure of his findings before sharing them with the world. In 1543, Copernicus published his book on the revolutions of the heavenly spheres. This book changed our understanding of the universe. Presented Copernicus's heliocentric theory. It provided mathematical proof. It challenged the old geocentric view. Copernicus dedicated his book to Pope Paul III. He hoped to avoid controversy. He wanted his work to be seen as a refinement of existing knowledge, not a complete rejection of it. Copernicus's work was a major turning point in the history of science. It helped to spark the scientific revolution. This revolution led to new discoveries in astronomy, physics, and medicine. The Renaissance spirit played a crucial role in these advancements. The emphasis on observation, experimentation, and mathematical reasoning paved the way for a new era of scientific inquiry. Copernicus's legacy extends beyond astronomy. His willingness to challenge established beliefs inspired generations of thinkers to question, explore, and seek new truths. Nicholas Copernicus, the Renaissance stargazer, left an indelible mark on our understanding of the cosmos. His heliocentric model revolutionized astronomy and shifted humanity's place within the grand scheme of the universe. From his humble beginnings in Poland to his transformative studies in Italy, Copernicus embodied the spirit of the Renaissance. His journey reminds us that curiosity, observation, and the courage to challenge conventional wisdom are essential for scientific progress. Copernicus's legacy continues to inspire us today. He reminds us to look beyond the familiar and to explore the mysteries of the universe with open minds and a thirst for knowledge.
Poland stands as a beacon of religious freedom, a testament to the enduring power of faith. For over 1,000 years, Poland has embraced diversity and championed the rights of all faiths. From the very beginning, Poland welcomed those fleeing persecution, offering sanctuary and the freedom to practice their beliefs openly. This commitment to religious liberty is woven into the very fabric of the Polish nation, a testament to its enduring Christian spirit. Unlike many European nations that faced religious strife and persecution, Poland fostered an environment of understanding and mutual respect. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, a unique union born of tolerance, stands as a testament to this commitment. Jews, fleeing persecution in Western Europe, found refuge and a place to flourish in Poland. Orthodox Christians facing pressure elsewhere found acceptance and the freedom to practice their faith. Poland's commitment to religious freedom is not merely a historical footnote, it is a living legacy, a guiding principle that continues to shape the nation's identity. In the face of modern challenges, Poland remains a staunch defender of religious liberty, a voice for the persecuted, and a beacon of hope for those seeking the freedom to worship according to their conscience. Poland's identity is deeply intertwined with Christianity. The nation's history is a testament to the enduring power of faith, a story of unwavering devotion and resilience in the face of adversity. From the moment of its baptism in 966 AD, Poland embraced Christianity as its bedrock, its guiding light. This profound faith shaped the nation's character, its culture, and its destiny. The Polish people's faith has been tested time and again throughout history. Invaders sought to extinguish its flame, to impose their will upon this devout nation. Yet, through it all, Poland's faith endured, burning brightly, even in the darkest of hours. It was this unwavering faith that gave the Polish people the strength to resist oppression, to fight for their freedom, and to preserve their identity. Poland's churches, magnificent testaments to faith, stand as enduring symbols of this spiritual resilience. From the soaring spires of Wawel Cathedral to the humble wooden churches dotting the countryside, these sacred spaces have served as sanctuaries for the Polish soul. Within their walls, generations have gathered to pray, to find solace, and to draw strength from their shared faith. Poland has stood as a bulwark against tyranny, a defender of the faithful against those who sought to extinguish the light of freedom. From the Mongol hordes to the armies of totalitarian regimes, Poland has faced down some of history's most formidable foes. Time and again, the Polish people have risen to the challenge, their courage fueled by an unwavering faith and an unyielding love of liberty. The Mongol invasions of the 13th century tested the mettle of the Polish nation. Yet, even as these fearsome warriors swept across Europe, Poland stood firm. The Polish victory at the Battle of Legnica in 1241 helped to stem the tide of the Mongol advance, sparing Western Europe from the horrors of conquest. Centuries later, Poland once again stood as a shield against tyranny, this time against the forces of the Ottoman Empire. At the Battle of Vienna in 1683, Polish forces, led by the valiant King John III Sobieski, dealt a crushing blow to the Ottomans, securing the safety of Christendom. Poland's spirit of resistance did not waver, even in the face of overwhelming odds. During World War II, Poland was the first nation to resist Nazi aggression, standing alone against the full might of the Nazi war machine. Though ultimately occupied, the Polish spirit never broke. The Polish resistance movement, one of the largest and most effective in occupied Europe, fought tirelessly to liberate their homeland. Poland's history is a testament to the enduring power of faith, a story of resurrection and renewal. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Poland has faced periods of darkness and despair, only to emerge stronger and more determined. This cycle of resilience, deeply rooted in the nation's spiritual core, offers a beacon of hope for the future, a testament to the triumph of faith over adversity. The Polish people have never succumbed to despair, even in the face of unimaginable suffering. Their faith, tested but unbroken, has always served as a source of strength, a guiding light in the darkest of hours. The Solidarity movement, a testament to the power of peaceful resistance, emerged from the depths of communist oppression, fueled by the unwavering faith of the Polish people. This movement, led by men and women of deep conviction, played a pivotal role in the fall of communism in Europe, ushering in a new era of freedom and hope. Poland's story is far from over. It continues to be written, its pages filled with the stories of those who strive to live out their faith, to build a better future for themselves and their children. The Polish people, with their enduring faith and their unwavering commitment to freedom, stand as a beacon of hope for the world, a testament to the possibility of resurrection and renewal.
High above the Vistula River, Wawel Castle stood. Proud, ancient, beautiful, sunlight, warm on old stone, kissed its walls. Below, Krakow bustled, a city full of life, but a shadow lingered beneath the castle, in the dragon's cave. The dragon was old, older than the castle. He was a creature of legend, whispered about but rarely seen. Some said he breathed fire, others that he hoarded gold. All agreed he was fearsome. The truth was simpler, the dragon was lonely. Bound to protect the hill, he was isolated. He watched the world from afar. Years turned to centuries. He yearned for connection. One day a new song drifted up to his cave. It was a human song, but different. Full of hope, a touch of sadness. He found himself drawn to it, to its source. A young woman, beautiful and kind. She came to the river each day to gather water, her voice echoing in the stillness. The dragon found solace in her song. He was no longer alone. The young woman was Princess Elżbieta, known for her grace and wisdom. Yet, her heart ached with an unknown longing. Her father, the king, worried for her. She seemed distant, lost in thought. A way to rekindle her joy. The king announced a competition, a quest for the bravest knights and nobles. Whoever could bring him proof of the dragon's defeat would win Elżbieta's hand in marriage. Elżbieta was horrified, harming the creature whose song she'd come to cherish. Unbeknownst to her, a young potter, Stanislaw, shared her feelings. He too had heard the dragon's mournful song echoing in the night. He believed not in slaying, understanding its sorrow. He crafted a plan, a way to help both the princess and the dragon. Stanislaw sought out Elżbieta, sharing his thoughts. He spoke of compassion, of understanding. Listened, her heart pounding. She saw in this humble potter a kindred spirit, someone who understood the weight of her unspoken worry. Together they devised a plan, a secret pact to save the dragon and defy the king's challenge. Stanislaw, guided by Elżbieta's descriptions of the dragon's song, crafted a gift, a flute carved from the finest wood, able to mimic the dragon's mournful tune. He climbed Wawel Hill each night, playing the dragon's song, adding his own melody of hope and friendship. The dragon stirred, his ancient heart thrumming. The flute's song resonated within him, mirroring his loneliness, offering solace. He ventured out, drawn to the music and the young man who wielded it with such care. Stanislaw offered the flute, a gesture of peace and understanding. The dragon accepted, his scaled hand surprisingly gentle. News of Stanislaw's bravery in approaching the dragon not with weapons but with music reached the king. He saw not a hero but a fool. He imprisoned Stanislaw, accusing him of sorcery and trickery. Elżbieta, desperate to save her friend and the dragon, revealed her own connection to the creature's song. She pleaded with her father, begging him to see the dragon not as a monster, but as a lonely being. The king remained unmoved. He declared that Stanislaw would be executed unless the dragon surrendered, proving its good intentions. Elżbieta, heartbroken, climbed the hill, the flute in hand. She played, pouring her grief and fear into the melody. The dragon heard her plea. He emerged from his cave, his scales shimmering under the moonlight. The townspeople trembled at the sight of the dragon, but he paid them no mind. He walked beside Elżbieta, his presence a solemn promise. The king, witnessing this unlikely pair, saw not a monster and a captive, but a protector and a friend. He finally understood. Stanislaw was freed. The king, humbled, lifted the decree for the dragon's defeat. The dragon, his loneliness eased, gifted the city a single scale, a symbol of his protection. It was set in gold, becoming a treasured relic. Elżbieta and Stanislaw, bound by their compassion, found love and solace in each other's company. The dragon remained on Wawel Hill, no longer a fearsome beast but a guardian, his mournful song now laced with peace, echoing through the ages.
The old man saw it in his sleep. Fire, everywhere fire. Moscow, a burning pyre against the black sky. Washington, D.C., a crater of ash. His dreams, once peaceful, now crackled with the heat of 1,000 suns. Putin, face twisted in a mask of rage, slammed his fist on the red button. Missiles, sleek and deadly, soared into the night, their trails like fiery serpents against the stars. The world held its breath, knowing the end was near. The nightmares began subtly, whispers of unease, a growing sense of dread. Then the news reports filled with grainy footage of troop movements and pronouncements of war. The world watched, horrified, as the doomsday clock ticked closer to midnight. Putin, eyes gleaming with a terrible light, spoke of destiny and power. His words, laced with venom, promised fire and fury. The world trembled on the brink. The first blast woke him with a start, a blinding flash, followed by a roar that seemed to split the earth. He stumbled to the window, his heart pounding in his chest. A mushroom cloud, terrible and beautiful, bloomed on the horizon. The world he knew, the world he loved, was gone. In its place, a nightmare landscape of fire and ash. The apocalypse had begun. His name was Peter, a simple cobbler with a kind heart and a love for his grandchildren. He had lived through hard times, seen his share of suffering, but nothing could have prepared him for this. The end of everything, born of one man's madness. As the firestorm raged outside, Peter could only cling to his family, praying for a miracle. But in his heart, he knew this was only the beginning. The sky, once a brilliant blue, turned a sickly yellow-grey. Ash, like a macabre snowfall, blanketed the earth. The air, thick with the stench of death and burning, choked the survivors. The lucky ones died quickly, incinerated in the initial blasts. The unlucky ones faced a slow, agonizing death from radiation sickness. The world, once teeming with life, became a silent, poisoned graveyard. In the aftermath, chaos reigned. Governments collapsed, their carefully constructed systems of order crumbling into dust. Cities, once bustling centers of commerce and culture, became desolate wastelands haunted by the ghosts of their former inhabitants. The survivors, hardened by unimaginable loss, fought tooth and nail for scraps of food and water. Morality became a luxury few could afford. In this new world, survival was the only law. Through the radioactive dust and despair, a new order began to emerge. Brutal warlords, their hearts hardened by the horrors they had witnessed, carved out territories with blood and iron. The strong preyed on the weak and the innocent perished. Hope, once a flickering candle in the darkness, seemed to be extinguished entirely. The world plunged into a perpetual twilight, shivered in the grip of nuclear winter. But even in the darkest of times, the human spirit proved remarkably resilient. In hidden bunkers and fortified settlements, pockets of resistance flickered to life. Driven by a desperate hope for a better future, these survivors clung to the tattered remnants of their humanity. They shared their meager supplies, offered comfort to the grieving, and dreamed of a day when the sun would shine again. Their struggle, though fraught with peril, offered a glimmer of hope in a world teetering on the brink of annihilation. The United States, though battered and bleeding, emerged from the nuclear firestorm as the last superpower standing. Their victory, however, was a hollow one. The cost of survival was almost too high to bear. Their cities lay in ruins, their population decimated. The land, once fertile and bountiful, was scarred and poisoned. The American dream, it seemed, had become a nightmare. The survivors, hardened by the horrors they had witnessed, faced a daunting task: rebuilding a shattered nation from the radioactive ashes. They scavenged for supplies, established makeshift communities, and clung to the hope of a better future. But the scars of the war ran deep, both on the land and in the hearts of the people. The old world was gone, and a new, uncertain future lay ahead. From the ashes, a new breed of leader emerged. General Thomas Chase, a hardened veteran of countless battles, rose to prominence. With steely resolve and unwavering determination, he rallied the survivors under the banner of the new American Republic. He promised security, order, and a return to greatness. The people, desperate for hope, embraced him as their savior. But Chase's vision for the future was a dark and twisted one. He ruled with an iron fist, crushing dissent and consolidating his power. He exploited the people's fear and uncertainty, transforming the new American Republic into a militaristic state. Under his rule, the dream of a free and just society died, replaced by a nightmare of oppression and control. The victory, once a beacon of hope, had become a Pyrrhic one, paving the way for a new era of darkness. Just when humanity thought it had endured the worst, a new threat emerged from the depths of space. Giant bioluminescent ships, like predatory jellyfish against the night sky, descended upon Earth. They came not with weapons of war, but with a hunger far more terrifying. They sought a harvest, and humanity, steeped in the darkness of its own making, was ripe for the taking. The arrival of the aliens was heralded by strange occurrences. Animals behaved erratically, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The air crackled with an unseen energy, setting teeth on edge. Then the ships appeared, their vast organic forms blotting out the stars. Panic gripped the remnants of humanity. Was this a new enemy to conquer, or something far more sinister? The first contact was nothing short of terrifying. The aliens, tall and skeletal, with skin like polished obsidian, descended from their ships on shimmering beams of light. Their eyes, large and black, seemed to pierce the soul, judging, evaluating. They moved with an unnerving grace, their long, spindly fingers tipped with claws that shimmered like polished metal. Fear, primal and consuming, spread like wildfire. The aliens, however, did not attack, not in the traditional sense. Instead, they began a systematic rounding up of humans. They showed no mercy, no compassion. Men, women, children, all were herded into the waiting ships, their pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. The world watched in horror as the aliens began their harvest, their motives shrouded in mystery. What did these creatures want with humanity? The answer, when it finally came, was far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. In Section 5, the harvest begins, a taste for human despair. The aliens, it turned out, were not conquerors, but connoisseurs. They traveled the cosmos, not for territory or resources, but for delicacies. And Earth, saturated with the negative energy of war and suffering, had become a gourmet's paradise. Their hunger, it turned out, was not for flesh and blood, but for something far more insidious: human despair. The process was swift and brutal. Humans, herded like cattle, were subjected to a terrifying selection process. The aliens, with their advanced technology, could sense the darkness within each soul. Those who had succumbed to hatred, fear, and despair were deemed delicious. They were dragged away, their screams echoing through the cavernous ships, their fate unknown. The others, those who still clung to some shred of hope, some spark of light within their hearts, were spared, for now. They were branded, marked with a glowing symbol on their foreheads, a sign of their unsavoriness. They were then dumped back on the ravaged earth, left to ponder their fate. Were they the lucky ones, or were they being saved for later, like a farmer fattening his prize pig? The world descended into a new kind of terror. It wasn't enough to survive the elements, the radiation, the remnants of war. Now, humans had to confront the darkness within themselves. Every hateful thought, every act of cruelty, every flicker of despair made them more desirable to the alien harvesters. Humanity, already on the brink, teetered on the precipice of extinction. Not from weapons of war, but from the darkness within their own hearts. Section 6, Karma, the currency of cosmic cuisine. The aliens, it was discovered, were not driven by malice, but by a cold cosmic indifference. They saw themselves as farmers, tending to a universal garden. And just as a farmer weeds out the weak and the sickly, so too did the aliens harvest those they deemed unfit. Their criteria, however, were not based on physical strength or intelligence, but on something far more esoteric: karma. The concept of karma, ancient and universal, resonated with a terrifying truth. Every action, every thought, every deed sent ripples through the fabric of existence. Positive actions, acts of kindness, love and compassion, created positive karma, strengthening the soul and illuminating the path. Negative actions fueled by hatred, greed and despair created negative karma, darkening the soul and attracting unwanted attention. Humanity, it seemed, had been on a downward spiral for centuries. War, pollution, inequality and endless consumption had created a miasma of negative karma, a feast for the alien harvesters. Their arrival, though terrifying, was merely a symptom of a deeper disease, a cosmic reckoning for generations of greed and violence. The survivors, those who remained unharvested, faced a stark choice: continue down the path of darkness, their souls ripe for the taking, or find a way to cleanse themselves, to tip the scales back towards the light. The question was, in a world stripped bare, where hope was a distant memory, could they possibly find the strength to change their fate? Section 7. Awaken the divine within, a glimmer of hope. As the alien ships continued their grim harvest, a different kind of message began to spread among the survivors. Whispered in hushed tones, passed from person to person, it spoke of an ancient power dormant within humanity. A power that could cleanse the soul, repel the darkness, and perhaps, just perhaps, offer a chance to fight back. The power of the divine within. This message found fertile ground in the most unexpected of places. A young woman, Sarah, who had lost everything in the nuclear fire, stumbled upon an old, leather-bound book in the ruins of a library. Its pages, filled with cryptic symbols and ancient wisdom, spoke of chakras, kundalini energy, and the potential for spiritual awakening. It spoke of a power that resided within every human being, waiting to be unlocked. At first, Sarah dismissed it as fantasy, the ramblings of a bygone era, but as she delved deeper, she felt a stirring within her, a resonance with the words on the page. She began to meditate, to visualize the energy centers within her body, to tap into the power that lay dormant within her. And slowly, surely, she began to change. The darkness that had clung to her, the fear and despair, began to dissipate. In its place, she felt a growing sense of peace, a connection to something larger than herself. Her intuition sharpened, her senses heightened. She began to see the world and the people in it with a new clarity. She realized that the power spoken of in the book was not a myth, but a key to unlocking humanity's true potential. Section 8, the power of unity, humanity's last stand. Sarah's transformation did not go unnoticed. Others, drawn to the newfound light within her, flocked to her side. She shared her knowledge, teaching them the ways of meditation, energy work, and spiritual awakening. As they progressed, they discovered that the power of the divine was amplified when they worked together, their energies merging into a force far greater than the sum of its parts. Word of this growing movement spread like wildfire, carried on the winds of hope. From the ashes of a shattered world, a new kind of army began to rise. Not an army of soldiers and weapons, but an army of light. An army united by a common purpose, to cleanse their souls, reclaim their power, and fight back against the darkness that threatened to consume them all. The aliens, initially dismissive of this human resurgence, soon took notice. The negative energy they had come to feast upon was waning, replaced by something unpalatable, something bright, pure and powerful. Their harvesting efforts became less efficient, their senses confused by the sudden shift in energy. The time had come for humanity to make its stand, not with weapons of war, but with the power of their collective consciousness. They gathered in the ruins of their cities, their hearts beating as one. They meditated, they prayed, they channeled the divine energy within them, creating a beacon of light that pierced the darkness. The final battle for Earth and for the very soul of humanity was about to begin. Section 9. A new dawn, forged in fire and faith. The air crackled with energy as humans and aliens faced off. The aliens, their sleek ships hovering ominously, seemed taken aback by the humans' transformation. The fear, the despair, the delicious negativity they had come to expect was gone, replaced by a resolute calm, a quiet power that radiated outwards, pushing back the darkness. The battle, when it came, was unlike any other in human history. There were no missiles, no bullets, no bombs. Only the clash of wills, the collision of light and darkness. Humans, their faces shining with a newfound purpose, channeled the divine energy within them, creating a wave of pure radiant power that washed over the alien ships. The aliens, caught off guard, retreated, their senses overloaded by the unexpected onslaught of positive energy. Their ships, once symbols of fear and despair, flickered and sputtered, their sleek forms dissolving into motes of light. The harvest was over. Humanity had prevailed. In the aftermath, as the golden light subsided, a sense of profound peace settled over the ravaged earth. The air, once choked with ash and despair, felt clean, vibrant. Birds sang, flowers bloomed, and from the ashes of a shattered world, a new dawn emerged. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, forced to confront the darkness within themselves. But through it all, they had discovered something far greater, a power that resided within them all along. The power of the divine, the power of love, the power of unity. And in that realization, they had found not only their salvation, but also their future. The future of a new humanity, forged in fire and faith, ready to rebuild their world on a foundation of peace, compassion, and the unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit.
Hey everyone! Buckle up because today I'm diving into some explosive allegations from San Mateo County. This is an open letter to Attorney General Rob Bonta, Vice President Kamala Harris, and every Californian out there. Imagine this, a judge, Raymond V. Swope, presiding over a case while allegedly high on methamphetamine. Yep, you heard that right. Not only that, but he also threatened to kill the family involved. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about the San Mateo Police Department. Reports describe it as a mafia rife with corruption, racism, and violent misconduct. We're talking about sexual assaults by officers, and even the murder of innocent children in Half Moon Bay back in 2014. It's beyond disturbing, and it gets worse. Enter Sheriff Christina Corpus. 85% of voters supported her removal because of serious misconduct allegations. She's accused of favoritism, creating a hostile work environment, and using racial and homophobic slurs. Her alleged relationship with Victor Enele further complicates things, with conflicts of interest and shady dealings. Despite numerous reports to the FBI, Governor Newsom, and even Kamala Harris when she was Attorney General, no action has been taken. This silence is deafening, and it's protecting the very people causing harm. We need regular drug testing for judges and law enforcement officers. Accountability is non-negotiable. We can't let fear and corruption dominate our justice system. So, Attorney General Bonta, Vice President Harris, Californians, let's demand an immediate investigation. Let's restore trust and ensure justice serves the people, not a corrupt few. Speak up, stand strong, stay informed. See you in the next one.
Within the rich tapestry of Islamic tradition lies Sufism, often described as the mystical heart of Islam. Sufism emphasizes the inward search for God, a deeply personal and experiential journey towards spiritual enlightenment. Sufis seek a direct and intimate connection with the divine, often referred to as the beloved. This quest for union with God is considered the ultimate goal of human existence in Sufism. Sufism emerged in the early centuries of Islam, finding fertile ground in the spiritual landscape of 8th and 9th century Arabia. While its precise origins are debated, Sufism is deeply rooted in the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Early Sufis were known for their piety, asceticism, and deep devotion to God. They emphasized the importance of inner purification, striving to cleanse their hearts from worldly attachments and ego-driven desires. Central to Sufism is the concept of, which translates to spiritual excellence or doing what is beautiful. Sufis strive for by cultivating a heightened awareness of God's presence in every aspect of life. They emphasize the importance of love, compassion, and humility as expressions of true faith. Sufi practices vary widely, but often include meditation, chanting, and breathwork. These practices help quiet the mind, open the heart, and facilitate a deeper connection with the divine. Section 4. Beacons of light, luminary figures in the Sufi tradition. Over the centuries, numerous Sufi masters, known as sheikhs or pirs, have illuminated the Sufi path with their wisdom and spiritual insights. Rabia al-Adawiya, who lived from 717 to 801 CE, was a female Sufi mystic who emphasized the importance of divine love. She advocated for a path of devotion and surrender to God. Al-Ghazali, who lived from 1058 to 1111 CE, was a prominent theologian and philosopher who played a significant role in integrating Sufism into mainstream Islamic thought. His writings continue to inspire seekers from various spiritual backgrounds. Section 5. Streams of devotion, Sufism and mainstream Islam. Sufism, while deeply rooted in Islamic principles, has sometimes been viewed as distinct from mainstream Islamic practices. This distinction often arises from the emphasis Sufis place on direct experience of the divine. While mainstream Islam focuses on outward observance of rituals and laws, Sufism delves into the inner dimensions of faith. However, it is essential to understand that Sufism is not a separate sect of Islam. It represents a spiritual dimension that has enriched Islamic thought and practice for centuries. Section 6. A timeless embrace. Sufism's resonance in the modern world. In today's world, Sufism continues to offer a path of spiritual solace and guidance. Its emphasis on inner peace, love, and compassion resonates deeply with those seeking meaning and purpose beyond the material world. Sufi teachings on tolerance, acceptance, and the universality of spiritual truth hold particular relevance in our increasingly interconnected yet fragmented world. Section 7. The Enduring Whisper, Sufism's legacy of love and unity. Sufism stands as a testament to the enduring human longing for connection with the divine. Its emphasis on love, compassion, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment continues to inspire individuals and communities across the globe. As a spiritual path that transcends cultural and religious boundaries, Sufism offers a message of unity, reminding us of our shared humanity and our interconnectedness in the web of life. Step into the present and uncover the treasures hidden in the ordinary. No rush, no haste. The world arrives right on time. A rose leans in, waiting to be kissed, and I oblige, lips pressed against fragrance, time dissolving into petals. The snail lifts its horned gaze, unrushed, undemanding, its silence louder than all my thoughts. We lock eyes, and for once I do not turn away. In the garden, earth clings to the carrot in my hand, a promise of sweetness yet to come. The small fingers of my child tangle with mine like roots in the soil. No past, no future, just now, just this breath, just this love. A smile from across the room, a comet in slow motion lighting the galaxies of my chest. A bite of apple pie, steam curling like whispered prayers. Hot chocolate on a snowy morning, each sip a hymn to warmth. My hands trace the map of my body, learning the landscape anew. Each touch a revelation, this skin, this temple, this holy place where God resides. Everywhere I look, love has signed its name. In the frost on the window pane, in the laughter of crows, in the echo of a bell ringing miles away. The secret is simple, nothing is missing. Nothing was ever missing. The world is here and so am I. And for this, for all of this, I bow.
Volhynia, a land of forests and fields, of rivers and rolling hills. For centuries it was a crossroads of cultures, a tapestry woven from the threads of many peoples. Ukrainians, Poles, Jews, Czechs, Germans all called Volhynia home. They lived side by side, their lives intertwined in the rhythms of the seasons, their fates bound together by the land they shared. The air vibrated with a symphony of languages. The scent of freshly baked bread mingled with the melodies of Ukrainian folk songs and the prayers of Jewish cantors. Churches, synagogues, and Orthodox temples stood as testaments to the region's diverse spiritual heritage. Volhynia was a testament to the enduring power of human connection, a place where differences were not barriers, but rather threads that enriched the fabric of society. But the winds of change were blowing across Europe, carrying with them the storm clouds of war and oppression. Volhynia, once a haven of peace, would soon find itself caught in the grip of forces determined to tear apart its delicate tapestry. The story of Volhynia is a poignant reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure, and that the pursuit of freedom is a flame that can never be truly extinguished. This is the story of Volhynia, a tale of resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship, and of remembrance for those who fought and died for the dream of a better tomorrow. The peace of Volhynia was shattered by the thunder of hooves and the roar of tanks. The Soviet bear, hungry for territory and fueled by a twisted ideology, had set its sights on the region. In 1939, the Red Army marched into Volhynia, marking the beginning of a brutal occupation that would forever scar the land and its people. The Soviets wasted no time in imposing their will. Farms were collectivized, businesses seized, and churches closed. Those who dared to resist were met with swift and brutal repression. Families were torn apart, their loved ones vanishing into the nightmarish maw of the Gulag, the vast network of Soviet labor camps. Fear stalked the land, a constant companion to the people of Volhynia. Yet even in the face of such oppression, the spirit of resistance flickered. Whispers of defiance echoed through the forests, and clandestine meetings were held under the cover of darkness. The people of Volhynia, though battered, were not broken. They refused to let their spirit be crushed under the heel of the oppressor. The Soviet occupation was a harsh lesson in the fragility of freedom. It was a time of immense suffering, but it also forged an unbreakable bond among the people of Volhynia. They had faced the darkness together, and in that shared struggle they found the strength to endure. As if the brutality of Soviet occupation wasn't enough, a new horror emerged from the West. In 1941, Nazi Germany, in its ruthless pursuit of conquest, unleashed its fury upon Volhynia. The region, totalitarian regimes, became a battleground in a conflict of unimaginable savagery. The Nazis, driven by their hateful ideology, targeted Volhynia's Jewish population for extermination. Synagogues were burned, and innocent men, women, and children were rounded up and marched to their deaths in the killing fields. The Holocaust, that unspeakable genocide, cast a long shadow over Volhynia, leaving behind a void that could not. The Nazi occupation was a reign of terror. The forests, once havens for partisans resisting the Soviets, became killing grounds where innocent civilians were massacred. Villages were razed to the ground, their murdered or deported as slave labor. The very air seemed thick with the stench of death and despair. Yet even in this abyss of inhumanity, acts of courage shone through. Ordinary Volhynians had great families, sheltered Jews from the Nazi killing machine. They shared what little food they had and whispered messages of hope in the darkest of hours. The people of Volhynia refused to be passive victims in the face of tyranny. Resistance movements, fueled by a burning desire for freedom, sprung up across the region. Armed with whatever weapons they could scavenge, they fought back against both the Nazi invaders and their Soviet oppressors. The forests of Volhynia became battlegrounds where hit-and-run attacks against enemy patrols were commonplace. The partisans, often poorly equipped and outnumbered, displayed incredible courage and tenacity. They disrupted enemy supply lines, sabotaged infrastructure, and provided crucial intelligence to Allied forces. These acts of resistance, while often small in scale, were a thorn in the side of the occupying powers. They demonstrated the unwavering spirit of the Volhynian people, their refusal to be broken by tyranny. Every act of sabotage, every attack on an enemy patrol was a victory for freedom. The price of freedom was high. Many brave souls paid the ultimate sacrifice, their lives cut short by bullets or the hangman's noose. But their sacrifice was not in vain. Their courage served as an inspiration to others, a testament to the indomitable human spirit that even the most brutal regimes could not extinguish.
Be still and know that I am God. These words from Psalm 46 verse 10 echo through millennia, a gentle command from the divine. In the cacophony of life, we are invited to pause, to breathe, to simply be. This invitation isn't merely a suggestion, it is a pathway. It's a pathway to knowing God, not just intellectually, but experientially. Yet this call to stillness often feels like the most difficult task. Our world thrives on noise, on busyness, on constant motion. We fill our days with endless tasks, our minds with worries. Silence becomes a strange land, introspection a daunting journey. But what if, in that very silence, in the depths of our being, God awaits? The modern world glorifies busyness. We wear our packed schedules as badges of honor, equating productivity with worth. This frenetic pace seeps into our souls, leaving little room for quiet reflection. We become strangers to ourselves, disconnected from our inner lives. The constant doing drowns out the whispers of the divine. This external noise is often mirrored by an internal one. Unresolved emotions, fears, and doubts swirl within, creating a barrier to stillness. We fear what we might find if we pause, if we truly look inward. This fear, understandable though it may be, can keep us trapped in a cycle of busyness, preventing us from encountering the God who dwells within. Many Christians hesitate to embrace meditation. They associate it with Eastern religions or fear it as a form of emptying the mind. However, Christian meditation is about filling ourselves, about opening our hearts to God's presence. It's about listening, not emptying. Meditation is not about achieving a blank mind, but a focused one. It's about gently guiding our thoughts towards God, allowing His peace to permeate our being. This process requires patience and persistence. Our minds, accustomed to constant stimulation, may resist the stillness, but as we persevere, we discover a wellspring of peace within, a place where we can encounter the divine. I am. God's name, revealed to Moses, speaks of pure being, of presence. In meditation, we connect with this presence within ourselves. We realize that God is not distant, but closer than our very breath. This realization is transformative. It shifts our perspective, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with greater peace and purpose. Incorporating meditation into our daily lives doesn't require hours of solitude. Begin with a few minutes each day. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, gently let them go, returning your attention to your breath, to the present moment. In this stillness, open your heart to God's presence. You might be surprised by what you find.
Czy zastanawialiście się kiedyś nad urokiem nieśmiertelności? Pragnienie życia wiecznego, pokonania samej śmierci to opowieść stara jak świat. W różnych kulturach i na przestrzeni dziejów ludzkość poszukiwała klucza do rozwiązania tej największej tajemnicy. Starożytne mity szepczą o magicznych eliksirach i ukrytych źródłach młodości. Dziś postęp naukowy przesuwa granice długości życia i bada potencjał regeneracji komórkowej. Ale jaka jest prawdziwa cena nieśmiertelności? Czy to dar, czy brzemię? Poszukiwanie życia wiecznego często splata się z tęsknotą za czymś głębszym, pragnieniem duchowego oświecenia i połączenia z boskością. Te poszukiwania prowadziły wielu na niezwykłe podróże, odkrywając starożytne sekrety i ukryte prawdy. Jeden z takich sekretów leży u podstaw starożytnych tradycji. Moc oleju Krzyżma Świętego. Ten święty olej, przesiąknięty historią i nasycony duchowym znaczeniem, oferuje unikalną perspektywę na wzajemne powiązania naszego fizycznego i duchowego dobrostanu. Cofnijmy się w czasie do świata starożytnego Izraela. Wyobraźcie sobie czasy, kiedy rytuały i ceremonie nie były jedynie symbolicznymi gestami, ale potężnym wyrazem wiary i połączenia z siłą wyższą. W tym świecie olej Krzyżma Świętego, mieszanka pachnących ziół i drogocennych olejków, odgrywał istotną rolę w świętych ceremoniach. Używano go do namaszczania królów i kapłanów, co symbolizowało ich boskie powołanie i obdarzało ich autorytetem i mądrością. Ale jego znaczenie wykraczało daleko poza zastosowanie ceremonialne. Olej Krzyżma Świętego, znany również jako święty olej namaszczenia, uważano za nosiciela boskiej esencji, namacalnego połączenia między ziemskim królestwem a niebiosami. Służył nie tylko do konsekracji osób, ale także do uświęcania przedmiotów i przestrzeni, przekształcając je w naczynia sakrum, niczym relikwie świętych w naszych kościołach. Ta starożytna praktyka ujawnia głębokie zrozumienie mocy intencji i wzajemnych powiązań wszystkich rzeczy. Sekrety oleju Krzyżma Świętego i jego prawdziwy potencjał prawie przepadły w mrokach dziejów. Jednak ostatnie odkrycia rzuciły nowe światło na tę starożytną praktykę. Uczona Sarah Bennett poprzez swoje przełomowe badania nad hebrajskim słowem kanech bosm ujawniła głębsze zrozumienie składników i sposobu przygotowania tego świętego oleju. Jej praca sugeruje, że olej Krzyżma Świętego nie był jedynie symboliczną substancją, ale starannie dobraną mieszanką ziół o silnych właściwościach leczniczych, niczym dawne receptury zielarek z polskich wsi. To odkrycie otwiera fascynującą możliwość. Czy starożytni Izraelici mogli posiadać wiedzę o ziołolecznictwie i praktykach uzdrawiania, które wyprzedzały ich czasy? Czy olej Krzyżma Świętego mógł być formą starożytnej aromaterapii, stosowanej nie tylko w dolegliwościach duchowych, ale także fizycznych? Zastosowanie olejków eterycznych w celach terapeutycznych jest dziś powszechnie znane, a ponowne odkrycie potencjalnych właściwości leczniczych oleju Krzyżma Świętego wypełnia lukę między starożytną mądrością a współczesną nauką. Podczas gdy dokładna receptura oleju Krzyżma Świętego pozostaje owiana tajemnicą, starożytne teksty oferują kuszące wskazówki. Teksty te mówią o konkretnych ziołach i olejkach eterycznych, z których każdy został wybrany ze względu na swoje unikalne właściwości i symboliczne znaczenie. Myrrha, znana ze swoich właściwości antyseptycznych i przeciwzapalnych, była kluczowym składnikiem, podobnie jak cynamon, ceniony za swoje rozgrzewające i stymulujące działanie. Kadzidło, często kojarzone ze świadomością duchową i medytacją, dodało kolejną warstwę złożoności do mieszanki. Wyobraźcie sobie, że trzymacie tę mieszankę w dłoniach, wdychając jej odurzający aromat. Sam zapach podobno ma moc uspokojenia umysłu, ukojenia duszy i rozbudzenia poczucia głębokiego połączenia z czymś większym niż my sami. Podczas gdy poszukiwanie nieśmiertelności może pozostać nieuchwytne, prawdziwa moc oleju Krzyżma Świętego tkwi w jego zdolności do przypominania nam o świętości wewnątrz nas i wzajemnych powiązaniach naszego fizycznego, emocjonalnego i duchowego dobrostanu. Służy on jako most między widzialnym a niewidzialnym, starożytnym a nowoczesnym, zapraszając nas do zgłębiania tajemnic, które kryją się w nas i poza nami.
The great escape. The wardens built walls so high, we forgot there was a sky. Stamped our hands, locked the doors, turned the stars into decor. Stay put, they said, this is all there is. And we believed. Worked, prayed, slept, waiting for a key no one would bring. But cracks whispered in the dark. A child traced them with a finger. A madman laughed at the hinges. A poet wrote the word, open. The walls sighed, the locks blinked. The doors? They were never locked. One step forward, no chains, no guards, only wind, only sky. And the earth, so tired of being a prison, exhaled into light.
Od zarania dziejów spoglądaliśmy w nocne niebo i snuliśmy opowieści o myśliwych, niedźwiedziach, bogach uwięzionych w wiecznej walce. Później zbudowaliśmy okręty i żeglowaliśmy po czarnych oceanach, odkrywając nowe lądy. Ale gwiazdy pozostawały poza naszym zasięgiem, płonąc w zimnym oddaleniu, obojętne na nasz głód. Problemem był czas. Wszechświat jest ogromny, a my jesteśmy mali. Światło odległych słońc podróżuje przez wieki, podczas gdy nasze kruche ciała, ulotne, łamliwe, obracają się w proch, zanim zdołamy pokonać takie odległości. Nawet najszybsze statki, przemykające przez pustkę z prędkością myśli, nie mogły wyprzedzić grobu. Naukowcy marzyli o ogromnych arkach, statkach pokoleniowych dryfujących przez stulecia, wypełnionych dziećmi związanymi z misją, której nigdy nie wybrali. Smutny kompromis, desperacka próba oszukania czasu. A potem pojawił się olej, Chrisma, starożytny eliksir, zaginiony przez prawie 2000 lat. Kiedyś namaszczał królów i proroków, szept boskości wciśnięty w ich czoła, ale jego sekret był większy niż ktokolwiek przypuszczał. To nie był tylko symbol, to był klucz, zapomniana nauka, pogrzebana pod kurzem i Pismem Świętym. Kiedy pierwsi astronauci zostali namaszczeni, stało się coś niemożliwego. Ich ciała oparły się czasowi. Komórki nie więdły, kości nie słabły, mięśnie pozostały silne, umysły bystre. Potrzeba długiego snu kriogenicznego zniknęła. Stary strach, śmierć w ciemności przed dotarciem do nowego świata zniknął. Mogli po prostu wyruszyć. 1000 lat, 10 000, to już nie miało znaczenia. Mapy kosmosu, kiedyś rysowane atramentem niemożliwości, rozwijały się przed nami jak strony starej, znajomej książki. Odległe planety, zimne księżyce, lodowate oceany krążące wokół bezimiennych gwiazd, już nie poza naszym zasięgiem. A potem stało się coś dziwniejszego. Olej nie tylko konserwował, on transformował. Myśli stawały się ostrzejsze. Percepcja rozszerzała się poza zwykłe rozumienie. Namaszczeni widzieli więcej, rozumieli więcej. Starożytne instynkty przetrwania zanikały, zastąpione przez coś głębszego, spokojniejszego. Cisza kosmosu nie była już pustą próżnią, ale głosem, który można usłyszeć. Pierwsi astronauci opuścili Ziemię nie jako zdesperowani odkrywcy, ale jako coś innego. Coś bliższego bogom niż ludziom. Nie ścigali się już ze śmiercią, ale płynęli z czasem, uwolnieni od jego ciężaru. To, co kiedyś było niemożliwe, stało się nieuniknione, więc gwiazdy czekają. I teraz wreszcie mamy czas, by do nich dotrzeć. Święty ogień, który wydawał się dawno zgaszony, nigdy tak naprawdę nie umarł. Wciąż tli się, czekając na tych, którzy odważą się go posiąść. https www.amazon.com How wash your sins away dp 0dlg obeczyć www. Chronic stress is more than just a feeling. It's a physical state that wears down your body over time. Think of it as preparing the ground for disease to take root. This is the fertile ground hypothesis. Chronic stress disrupts the body's normal balance in several ways. One way is through oxidative stress. Stress hormones like cortisol trigger the release of harmful molecules called reactive oxygen species, or ROS. These ROS damage cells and DNA, much like rust damages metal. Over time, this damage can lead to various diseases. Stress also fuels inflammation. It disrupts the immune system, causing it to release inflammatory chemicals like IL-6 and TNF-alpha. While some inflammation is necessary for healing, chronic inflammation damages tissues and organs. This can contribute to heart disease, arthritis, and even cancer. Chronic stress also affects our genes. It can trigger changes in how our genes are expressed, a process known as epigenetics. These changes can be passed down through generations, making our children and grandchildren more susceptible to stress-related diseases. In the quest to combat stress and its consequences, we may find answers in ancient wisdom. Chrism oil, a blend of natural ingredients, has been used for centuries for its healing properties. Its origins can be traced back to ancient texts, including the Bible. The book of Exodus describes a sacred anointing oil, believed by some to be chrism oil. This recipe includes myrrh, cinnamon, cannabis, cassia, and olive oil. Interestingly, the inclusion of cannabis has been misunderstood throughout history. Some translations mistakenly refer to it as calamus, a less potent ingredient. Chrism oil, with its carefully chosen ingredients, each playing a crucial role, may hold the key to restoring balance in a body ravaged by stress. Myrrh, known for its anti-inflammatory and wound-healing properties. Cinnamon, a powerful antimicrobial and vasodilator. Cannabis, a potent anti-inflammatory agent and ROS scavenger. Cassia, another vasodilator with antioxidant effects. And finally, olive oil, the base of the blend, provides a potent antioxidant effect. While ancient traditions provide compelling anecdotes, modern science demands evidence. Recent research suggests that chrism oil may work by detecting and addressing the imbalances caused by chronic stress. One way it does this is by triggering a mild pain response in areas of the body affected by inflammation or stress. This signal acts as a beacon, drawing the healing properties of the oil to the affected tissues. Think of it as a targeted approach to healing. Once there, the ingredients in chrism oil work synergistically to restore balance. The antioxidants in the oil combat oxidative stress by neutralizing harmful ROS. The anti-inflammatory compounds help to calm the overactive immune response, reducing chronic inflammation. Furthermore, preliminary studies using laser Doppler flowmetry suggest that chrism oil improves blood circulation. This enhanced microcirculation delivers oxygen and nutrients to stressed tissues, promoting healing and repair. While still in its early stages, research on chrism oil offers a glimmer of hope. Preliminary observations suggest its potential in alleviating arthritis, accelerating wound healing, and even showing anecdotal evidence of tumor regression. However, it's crucial to remember that these observations are based on uncontrolled studies. Rigorous, controlled clinical trials are necessary to validate these findings and determine the true efficacy and safety of chrism oil. If these trials prove successful, chrism oil could revolutionize how we approach disease prevention. Instead of simply treating diseases after they arise, we could use chrism oil to address the underlying imbalance caused by chronic stress, preventing disease from taking root in the first place. This paradigm shift could have profound implications for public health.
Christianity, as we know it, hinges on the belief in one life, one death, and one chance at salvation. However, this wasn't always the case. The early church entertained a diversity of beliefs, some quite different from the doctrines solidified over time. One such belief met with resistance and eventual suppression is the concept of reincarnation. This idea, far from being foreign to Christianity, found fertile ground within its early mystical and philosophical discussions. Early Christians grappled with questions about the soul's fate after death and the meaning of human existence. Reincarnation, the belief that the soul undergoes multiple cycles of birth, death, and rebirth, offered a compelling framework to address these questions. This belief resonated with ancient wisdom traditions and philosophical schools, influencing early Christian thought. Figures like Origen of Alexandria, a prominent theologian, wove reincarnation into their understanding of the Christian message. The existence of reincarnation within early Christian circles challenges the common perception of a monolithic and unchanging faith. It speaks to a time when the boundaries of Christian thought were more fluid, incorporating diverse philosophical and spiritual influences. Understanding this context is crucial to grasping the evolution of Christian doctrine and the eventual suppression of reincarnation. The idea of multiple lifetimes offered a different perspective on sin, salvation, and the very nature of God's justice. It suggested a more gradual process of spiritual development where individuals learn from their mistakes and strive for perfection across multiple lives. This understanding, while popular in some early Christian communities, eventually clashed with the emerging power structures within the church. Origen of Alexandria, a highly influential theologian of the 3rd century, stands as a pivotal figure in understanding the role of reincarnation in early Christianity. Origen didn't merely accept reincarnation, he wove it into a sophisticated theological framework that sought to reconcile Christian teachings with Greek philosophy, particularly Platonism. Central to Origen's teachings was the belief in the pre-existence of souls. He argued that before being embodied in the material world, souls existed in a spiritual realm. These souls, through their own volition, became entrapped in the material world, forgetting their divine origin. Reincarnation, according to Origen, represented a merciful process orchestrated by God. It provided souls with repeated opportunities to purify themselves, learn from their mistakes, and ultimately achieve spiritual perfection, rejoining God in the heavenly realm. Origen's views on reincarnation aligned with Gnostic traditions, which emphasized direct mystical knowledge or gnosis as the path to salvation. Gnostics viewed the material world as flawed and sought liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Reincarnation in this context served as a stepping stone towards spiritual enlightenment. While Origen's teachings enjoyed significant influence, they also sparked controversy. His ideas, considered too radical by some, challenged the developing orthodoxy of the Church. Origen's emphasis on individual spiritual evolution and the pre-existence of souls clashed with the emerging emphasis on church authority and a single life to achieve salvation. The suppression of reincarnation within Christianity cannot be divorced from the political realities of the time. While theological debates raged, the Roman Empire, grappling with internal strife and external threats, underwent a significant transformation. Constantine's adoption of Christianity as the state religion in the 4th century AD irrevocably intertwined the fate of the Church with the empire. Empress Theodora, wife of Emperor Justinian I, played a pivotal role in shaping religious doctrine during the 6th century. Known for her political acumen and ruthlessness, Theodora's motivations for condemning Origen's teachings, including reincarnation, remain a subject of historical debate. Some scholars argue that Theodora, haunted by her scandalous past, feared the concept of karmic retribution inherent in reincarnation. This fear, coupled with her desire to solidify her and her husband's power, led her to influence Justinian to convene the Second Council of Constantinople in 553 AD. This council, orchestrated to consolidate power and quell theological disputes, ultimately condemned Origen's teachings as heresy. By rejecting reincarnation, the Church shifted its focus to a single earthly life as the sole determinant of an individual's eternal fate. This move had profound implications, bolstering the Church's authority in matters of salvation and solidifying its control over the populace. The condemnation of Origen had a chilling effect on open theological discourse within Christianity. The concept of reincarnation, once a subject of vibrant debate, was relegated to the fringes, kept alive primarily by mystical groups deemed heretical by the Church hierarchy. Despite its official condemnation, the concept of reincarnation didn't completely vanish from the Christian landscape. Echoes of this ancient belief continued to reverberate through apocryphal texts and even within the canonized Bible itself. Gnostic Christian texts, often viewed as heretical by the Church, preserved and expanded upon reincarnation themes. The Gospel of Thomas, a collection of sayings attributed to Jesus, hints at past life identities and the cyclical nature of existence. Similarly, the Pistis Sophia, another Gnostic text, describes reincarnation as a purifying process, allowing souls to progress through different levels of spiritual understanding. These texts provide a glimpse into alternative Christian traditions that embraced reincarnation as integral to their worldview. Intriguingly, even within the canonical Bible, which underwent meticulous editing and selection, verses allude to the possibility of reincarnation or cyclical existence. Matthew 11:14, for instance, describes John the Baptist as Elijah returned to earth. Similarly, in John 9:1-2, Jesus' disciples inquire about a man blind from birth, asking whether his condition resulted from his own sin or that of his parents, suggesting a pre-existing state. While open to interpretation, these biblical passages demonstrate that the idea of reincarnation wasn't entirely foreign to the early Christians who compiled the scriptures. The persistence of these verses, despite the Church's official stance against reincarnation, underscores the complex and multifaceted nature of early Christian thought. In the quiet of dawn, a question stirs. What's your God's name? In the silence of dawn, whispers dance, asking the question in a sacred trance. What's your God's name, seeker of truth? For without the name, how will he soothe? God's name is whispered by the wind, in the rustle of leaves where love begins, in the heartbeats of time, in the silent frame. God's name is I am, the eternal flame. I am the light in your darkest night. I am the love in your heart's delight. I am the whisper in your deepest prayer. I am the answer, always there. Know his name, and he will reveal the secrets of life, the divine seal. In every breath, in every sigh, I am is the truth, the reason why. So ask with a heart that seeks and yearns, for in knowing his name your soul returns to the source of all, the infinite claim. In the name of I am, you'll find his flame. Echoes of past lives reincarnation in early Christianity. The idea of reincarnation, the belief that the soul journeys through multiple lives, might seem at odds with modern Christian thought. However, this concept was not always alien to the Christian experience. In the early centuries of the faith, reincarnation was a vibrant thread in the tapestry of Christian belief. The early church father Origen, a prominent theologian of the 3rd century, stands as a key figure who embraced this idea. Origen wrote extensively about the pre-existence of souls, suggesting that they transmigrated through various earthly incarnations. Origen's beliefs were not isolated incidents of unorthodoxy. They resonated with a broader current of thought within early Christianity, particularly among Gnostic groups. The Gnostics, a diverse group of early Christians with their own unique interpretations of Jesus' teachings, saw reincarnation as central to spiritual growth. For them, the material world was a realm of illusion and suffering. Liberation from this cycle of death and rebirth was the ultimate goal. This liberation, they believed, could only be achieved through gnosis, a Greek term for knowledge. This knowledge referred to a deep understanding of one's true nature as a divine spark trapped in the material realm. Through successive lives, individuals could acquire the necessary wisdom and spiritual insight to break free from this cycle and attain union with the divine. The Gnostic Gospels, a collection of texts discovered in Egypt in 1945, provide further evidence of reincarnation's prevalence in early Christianity. These texts, not included in the canonical Bible, offer alternative perspectives on Jesus' teachings. They often depict him emphasizing self-knowledge and the cyclical nature of existence. The shadow of imperial power, Empress Theodora and the Second Council. The acceptance of reincarnation within early Christian circles began to wane with the rise of imperial power in the Roman Empire. Constantine the Great's conversion to Christianity in the 4th century AD marked a turning point. Christianity transitioned from a persecuted faith to the official religion of the empire. This shift brought with it a new set of political realities. The doctrines of the church became increasingly intertwined with the interests of the state. Empress Theodora, the wife of Emperor Justinian I, played a pivotal role in the official condemnation of reincarnation. Theodora's past was colorful, to say the least. She had been an actress and a courtesan before marrying Justinian. This past, according to some historians, weighed heavily on her conscience. The idea that one's actions in past lives could have karmic consequences in future ones was understandably unsettling. In 553 AD, Emperor Justinian convened the Second Council of Constantinople. The council's ostensible purpose was to resolve theological disputes within the church. However, it also provided a platform for Theodora to advance her own agenda. Under her influence, the council declared Origen's teachings, including his belief in reincarnation, heretical. This decision had far-reaching consequences. By condemning reincarnation, the church effectively consolidated its power. It established itself as the sole arbiter of salvation, emphasizing that this life was the only opportunity for redemption. This single-life doctrine reinforced the church's authority, making individuals more dependent on its sacraments and teachings for their eternal fate. A doctrine condemned, the political motives behind suppressing reincarnation. The reasons behind the church's suppression of reincarnation were not solely theological. Political motivations played a significant role. The concept of reincarnation, with its emphasis on personal responsibility and spiritual evolution over multiple lifetimes, presented a potential challenge to the church's authority. Firstly, reincarnation implied that salvation was not a one-time event, but rather a gradual process of spiritual growth. This challenged the church's emphasis on baptism and conversion as singular moments of spiritual transformation. If individuals had multiple lives to attain enlightenment, the urgency and importance of the church's sacraments diminished. Secondly, reincarnation suggested that individuals were ultimately responsible for their own spiritual evolution. This undermined the church's role as the indispensable intermediary between humanity and God. If one's actions in past lives determined their present circumstances, then individuals had a degree of agency that the church's doctrines did not fully acknowledge. Finally, the concept of reincarnation implied a continuous process of judgment and rebirth, as opposed to a single final judgment after death. This challenged the church's teachings on heaven, hell, and the last judgment. If individuals were reborn into new lives based on their past deeds, the fear of eternal damnation lost some of its potency. By suppressing reincarnation, the church could maintain its control over the narrative of salvation. It reinforced the idea that this life was the only one that mattered, thereby solidifying its authority and influence over the lives of its followers. Whispers in the silence: reincarnation's persistence in mystical Christianity. Despite its official condemnation, the belief in reincarnation did not disappear entirely from the Christian world. It continued to find expression in various mystical traditions within Christianity. These groups, often operating on the fringes of orthodoxy, preserve the ancient wisdom of reincarnation, passing it down through generations in hushed tones and secret teachings. The Cathars, a medieval Christian sect that flourished in southern France, are a prime example. They believed in a dualistic cosmology, pitting a good god against an evil demiurge who created the material world. For the Cathars, reincarnation represented a way to escape the clutches of this evil god and return to the true spiritual realm. Similarly, the Essenes, a Jewish sect contemporary with Jesus, are believed to have held beliefs akin to reincarnation. While their writings are scarce, some scholars argue that their emphasis on purity, ritual cleansing, and the immortality of the soul suggest a belief in a cycle of death and rebirth. These mystical traditions serve as a reminder that the Christian experience has always been diverse and multifaceted. While the official church condemned reincarnation, the idea continued to resonate with those seeking a more expansive understanding of the soul's journey. Hidden in plain sight reincarnation in Gnostic and canonical texts. The idea of reincarnation, though officially condemned, left its mark on both Gnostic and canonical Christian texts. In the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, Jesus speaks of the cyclical nature of existence. Blessed are you who were persecuted but will be gathered together again. Blessed are you who were scattered but will be gathered together into my sheepfold. This passage suggests a gathering not only in the afterlife but also a potential regathering in future lives. The Pistis Sophia, another Gnostic text, portrays reincarnation as a process of purification. It describes souls ascending through different levels of existence, shedding their material attachments and accumulating wisdom with each lifetime. This ascent culminates in a final liberation from the cycle of rebirth and union with the divine. The Gospel of Philip, yet another Gnostic text, emphasizes the importance of spiritual awakening in this life to avoid repeating cycles of suffering. It states, "Those who sow in the winter eat their harvest in the summer. This world is the place of sowing. If a person does not receive his harvest in this world, he will not rise to receive it in the other world." This passage suggests a direct link between one's actions in this life and their experiences in future ones. Intriguingly, even within the canonical Bible, there are passages open to interpretation as hinting at reincarnation. When Jesus is asked about John the Baptist, he replies, "And if you are willing to accept it, he is Elijah who was to come." This statement could be interpreted metaphorically, but it also aligns with the Jewish belief in the return of prophets in new forms. In another instance, Jesus heals a man blind from birth. His disciples ask, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" This question implies a pre-existing state before birth, suggesting the possibility of actions in a past life affecting one's present circumstances. The book of Ecclesiastes, known for its philosophical musings on life's meaning, contains a line that resonates with the cyclical nature of existence. What has been, will be again. What has been done, will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. While open to interpretation, this verse suggests a recurring pattern in human experience, potentially alluding to the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. A return to the source, reincarnation and the future of Christian spirituality. The idea of reincarnation, once a vibrant thread in the tapestry of early Christian thought, was officially condemned and driven underground. However, its persistence in mystical traditions and its subtle presence in both Gnostic and canonical texts suggests that it never entirely disappeared from the Christian consciousness. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, perhaps it is time to re-examine this ancient concept. Reincarnation, with its emphasis on personal responsibility, spiritual evolution, and the interconnectedness of all life, offers a compelling framework for understanding the human condition. It encourages us to see our lives as part of a larger tapestry, where every action has consequences that ripple through time. This perspective can inspire compassion for ourselves and others as we journey together through the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Reintegrating reincarnation into Christian theology would undoubtedly be a complex and challenging undertaking. It would require a re-evaluation of traditional doctrines and a willingness to engage with the diverse strands of Christian history. However, such a re-evaluation could potentially lead to a richer, more nuanced understanding of God's love and justice. If we are willing to embrace the possibility of multiple lives, we open ourselves to a more expansive view of salvation, one that emphasizes growth, learning, and the gradual unfolding of our divine potential. In a world grappling with issues of social justice, environmental destruction, and the meaning of life itself, the wisdom of reincarnation may offer a path toward greater understanding, compassion, and ultimately, a deeper connection to the divine.